Welcome back to the podcast, my dudes. Hope you guys enjoyed the last couple ones. We got Von Metal on this one, right? Hope you guys enjoyed this. Von actually reached out to me to ask about some paint work, and it just kind of like turned into, hey dude, would you be interested to be on the podcast? I thought it'd be a really good opportunity for him to kind of, or for everybody out there to kind of maybe see who he is and get a little bit more insight on his business and his background in this industry. And because I wouldn't say most, but I feel like a lot of people only got the impression of them through the the Instagram video for the pilot TV show Outlaw Baggers and stuff like that, which I think a lot of us are guilty for being on that bandwagon of not knowing him personally, but using that as an attack, I don't know, mechanism. I don't fucking know. But I thought it would be a perfect time for everybody to get to know him, because after talking with him a while, I thought he's a pretty cool dude myself. And really seeing what he is trying to do in the performance motorcycle side of things, So I just thought it'd be cool. So I want to thank our sponsors, man, D&D Exhaust. You can always check them out at dandexhaust.com. Pick up a pipe from them, and always put in Fast Life at the checkout for 5% off. You can also phone in and order 844 D&D pipe, and you can always follow them on Instagram at D Exhaust, as well as on Facebook. They have a lot of really high quality pipes that are designed to make it easy installation for you guys and shops out there, and you really can't beat the quality. Proven numbers, dyno tested, dyno proven, highest quality pipes made in the United States. So you can't really beat that. So check them out, dandexhaust.com. I also want to thank Texas Performance MC. You'll be able to catch Mark this weekend down at Easy Rider Show in Austin. We'll be there too, hanging out. He should have a booth. Come by, say hi to Mark, see about getting your bike in there, getting it scheduled in for some service work, some maintenance work, which is the same thing. Sorry. But maybe some performance work, maybe getting a D&D exhaust on there. But always check out Mark, TexasPerformanceMC.com, as well as on Instagram. You can't go wrong using him for all your custom performance needs. I also want to thank PaintHuffer.com. You can always go on PaintHuffer.com and get flakes and pearls and all those things that make us custom painters look like we know what we're doing. You can also go to the Instagram and check out Paint Huffer Metal Flake and see a lot of high quality artists across the world doing amazing shit with metal flakes and custom paint in general. Sometimes when I'm like in a rut and like not knowing where the next inspiration is going to come from, sometimes just scrolling down to Paint Huffer's Instagram, it's like you see a lot of talented artists, and you're like, for me, I can see a color combination and it can inspire a whole paint job, or see one line on the side of a gas tank or side of a helmet, and it can completely give me the fuel I need to completely do a whole new paint job. So you can always go check them out. Good dudes over there. Like I said, PaintHuffer.com if you want to get some flakes, pearls, tapes, and other products to use for your custom paint needs. Also, I want to thank Horsepower Inc., man. You can go check them out. We actually talk a little bit about Jimmy there on this podcast, but horsepowerinc.net if you want to get a throttle body, air cleaners, exhaust systems. They have all that stuff ready for your bike to make some power. You know what I mean? You can always step in their shop in Indianapolis, Indiana, if you didn't know, and get your bike worked on, get some performance upgrades. Same thing, dyno tuning, all that good stuff in house, ready to rock and roll, and pull some ponies out of that motor. You know what I'm saying? Horsepowerinc.net, Horsepower Inc. on Instagram, and Horsepower Inc. Indy on Facebook. As always, we're still pushing those T-bar giveaways, so don't forget that at the end of this month, the last podcast, which I don't know what will be that, but maybe whenever it does, you're going to hear it on this podcast. We're going to give it away to a Patreon subscriber. So go check out 4130 Chassis Works on Instagram. He makes a lot of handlebars made to order, your specifications and your liking. So check them out. We have a set of 14-inch MXT bars that he makes that we will be giving away on this podcast to our Patreon subscribers. So check that out. You can go to fastlifegarage.com, check out the Patreon link on the front page, donate $1, $5, $10, whatever. And I do actually want to thank a couple, Clay Conway, man. Appreciate the nice money, man. Appreciate it. It really helps this thing grow. I want to thank Eric. Man, I kind of fucked this last name up, but thank you, Eric Arellano. Sucks. Anyway, Aaron Doyle, one of the East Texas homies, man. Thanks, homie. I appreciate that. Like I said, man, the Patreon is really the lifeline to this podcast and the sponsors. So, check out these sponsors if you're interested in any of their products, man. Let them know you heard about it through the podcast. A lot of these dudes are really supporting it. A lot of our sponsors really support this podcast, and they're close friends of mine. So, it's just a circle of life in the motorcycle industry. But like I said, man, I'm really excited to have Vaughn on, and I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys, take the time to understand who he is and just, all that good mess, and, just check it out.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
What's up, Jay?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, just another day in the hood.
Nice. You were saying earlier you got a big ass storm coming through there tonight, huh?
Oh, dude, I'm looking out my window, and I literally can see a wall of fucking snow about a mile away.
That's crazy. And it doesn't really do that on the other side of the mountains over there in California, does it? It's just like...
Well, I live right on the border of California and Nevada, so I live in the northern part off of 395 north, like if you're heading out of Reno to go to Susanville.
Yeah.
So literally, I look out my window, I can see the California border.
Nice.
So pretty much that picture that I sent you today of that, that's California right there.
Nice. Well, shit, man. That's at least you're at home chilling. Y'all used to the snow. Us down here in Texas, we're not used to that. So when it happens, it's like it's a frenzy, to say the least.
Yeah, I went to the University of Texas.
Oh, you did? You a Longhorn?
Yep. I've got my bachelor's in mechanical engineering there.
Nice. So let's start. Let's go back there then. Where are you originally from? Reno, or did you just transplant there, or where'd you start? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm originally from Southern California. Okay. I got into this industry simply because my family has been in the Devil's Disciples since the late 60s.
Yeah.
So the biker life has been in my blood since I was knee-high to a duck.
Nice.
So I kind of got to the decision of, after high school of, my grandfather saying, hey, go to college or go in the military.
Yeah.
And, growing up all my life, I've always been into dirt bikes and Harleys and always riding. And I just got to the point of just going, fuck it. I'll go to Texas and, try and see they've got a good program there. So
yeah,
I went there. And after I graduated, then I went to a mechanic college.
Yeah.
And life set me down this path, and it was literally no bullshit. I got back from mechanic college, and within a week, I had a interview at Pro Circuit working for the race team.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in.
What's the Pro Circuit? Is that like dirt bikes, or is that more?
Yeah, that's all dirt bike.
Okay.
So started out in the dirt bike industry. Had an interview on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and literally at 1:30, I punched in, start working for the race team for Pro Circuit Kawasaki.
Damn, can't beat that then.
No, and then it was, for the last 16 years after that, working for pros off and on, between working for race teams from anywhere from, Jeremy McGrath to Brian Deegan. I mean,
mm-hmm.
Did everything with them. The last venture of before I got out of the dirt bike industry was working for Fox Racing Shocks, heading up their off-road division. And I was a suspension tech for a factory support Yamaha rider. Mm-hmm. Actually had two of them. And with Brian Garahan, we won the 2009-2010 the Pro Hare and Hound Scramble Championship, undefeated. We went 2 years undefeated, couldn't even be touched.
Nice.
And then when I went to go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not real, I don't know a lot about the dirt bike scene. I didn't come up in that, but I have close friends, and I've been kind of watching a lot closer over the years and seeing how it's kind of really influenced a lot of the riding and the riders nowadays in current Harley Davidson culture. You know what I mean? So I've been trying to pay more attention to it.
And that's where, my development getting into riding Harleys was riding a stock Harley just sucked.
Yeah.
It wouldn't do what I wanted it to do. And I rode my Harley I wanted to ride my Harley like I wanted to ride my dirt bike.
Mm-hmm.
So in the early stages, I'd say 10 years ago, I was trying to develop on a shovel head of mine. I was trying to put Rentals on it.
Yeah.
Because that's what I wanted. I wanted the sweep like a dirt bike. I wanted the feel, and basically I just wanted to ride it like a dirt bike. And getting ape hangers and T-bars. T-bars were close, but it still didn't have the sweep that I desired.
Yeah.
So that's where the development of me stepping into this industry started. It started 10 years ago.
Yeah. What's that area like in SoCal where like pretty much all the dirt bike teams are kind of stationed out of? Isn't it like kind of in between Anaheim and fucking San Diego or something like that? What's that town called?
Well, it's all over in Corona, California.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, most of the racing and test tracks and everything are between Temecula and Corona.
Yeah, that's it. Temecula is what I was thinking of. That's cool. Yeah, I've known a couple people here locally that kind of rode pro a little bit, and a lot of my friends that know them more personal. And then, like I said, I tried to follow it, but I didn't grow up in the dirt. So the first time I ever rode in the dirt, it was so foreign to me that it just kind of like freaked me out. It seems like people that start in the dirt, they kind of have a higher tolerance for like not giving a fuck on the road, as opposed to like if you come up on a street bike like I did. I'm like, when the back wheel gets squirrely, like that means chill the fuck out. You know what I mean? And on a dirt, it's like that's a natural habitat for that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. When I come out of riding my bagger, when I come into a corner, I jam down, I slam down the transmission, I drop down a gear and go ahead and let it clutch slide, pull in the clutch halfway through the apex, and then just drop the clutch and pull out of the corner.
Damn.
When that ascent starts to get squirrely, it's just to straighten yourself out, you got to give it more throttle.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was just like I said, it was just it's real different, like coming from my angle and seeing how all these kids on the wheelies and then even just people that you see ripping around, hitting the corners, like they just have a different tolerance for what if this happens or what if it doesn't. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool to watch, but.
It's kind of, there's a separation. The one thing that, always goes in the back of my mind is, hitting the ground. And I've hit the ground 3 or 4 times. I'd say the fastest I've done it is 55 going through a corner.
Yeah.
And I was halfway through the corner. I looked down. I'm like, oh, that looks like oil. And I shit you not, as soon as I said that, I was on the ground.
It's that quick, man.
Oh, it really is. And I think I was more mad. And I was wearing a pair of Dickies that day, tennis shoes, my lid,
mm-hmm.
and a pair of gloves and a T-shirt, and my cut.
Yeah.
And as soon as I hit the ground, I tucked in really tight to the bike and slid all the way till I hit the K-rail.
Mm-hmm.
And then stood up, and I was so fucking mad that I picked my bike up with one hand and lifted it up a little bit too much, and then dropped it on the other side. And at that point, I pulled off my lid and I threw it at the bike and just was screaming.
Yeah, that's a good way to get a nice check, too, from the insurance companies. I know a lot of cats that do that. But, no, that's cool, man. So, like, what is it, like, what really drew you to the Harleys? Was it just growing up in the club, being a part of that family growing up, with your...
That's what it pretty much was. When I actually got patched in and started riding around the nation and riding with other members, I wanted more. I've always been the type of guy that I wanted to go faster, and
yeah,
I've broken about damn near every bone in my body, and it's been 1.5 years being paralyzed.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of.
And just got to the point where I just said, it's do or die, and I just kept riding with more people and just finding, I could push the limits through corners and do 140, 160 miles an hour down the road and not even give a shit.
Mm-hmm. So basically the club just kind of like gave you the opportunity to kind of travel and
it really did. It really gave me the insight of everything. Being on the dirt bike side and seeing the corporate side and the corrupt side of working for some type of godlike company that are praised by everybody in America,
mm-hmm.
and you really find out how corrupt and shitty they really fucking are.
Yeah.
I just got to the point of just saying, fuck it, I'm fucking over this shit. Fuck you, you're cool, fuck you, peace, I'm out.
Yeah. That's how I feel in the paint industry sometimes, but, when I try to rally people to get behind me, they don't, they might be getting something for free. So I don't want to I'll take this little crumb over the big picture, you know what I mean? Is what a lot of people are like in some of these aspects, you know what I mean? But, the people
that was the whole thing. Is in the big, you're thinking the big picture as much as I am, is that we're developing and we're basically bleeding for this industry to start developing.
Yeah.
And it really pisses me off at the corporate end. You see corporate corruption try to step into any industry, anywhere where there's going to be money made, they put their foot in.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to fucking have it. I don't care, who hears it, who doesn't like it. That's just how I feel.
So do you have a take on Harley's direction the last, with this LimeWire shit or Livewire? I mean,
I understand everybody's got to, develop and exceed customers' expectations. But I think Harley's direction is so fucking ass backwards. Quit worrying about these snowflakes and cornflakes and fucking millennial jackoffs. Fuck these guys. You know what? These guys don't have the money. There are very few people who do, but they don't know what it's all about, man. They don't fucking get it. I can ask 100 people through the different ages, let's say from 16 to 72. And if you go up to every single one of those people and you ask them, hey, man, what is the one feeling that you love about riding? And I'll ask you that same question, Jace. What do you love? What is the one feeling you get when you jump on that horse and you go down that highway and you got the wind in your face?
I think that, when you get a bike, you know what I mean, and you ride it, obviously there's a great feeling of just being on two wheels. But I remember the first time I ever had a Harley and I put slip-ons on there. You know what I mean? Just it didn't do shit to me performance-wise. It just made it sound deeper. And I could have swore that I felt like I just added 20 or 30 horsepower to that damn bike with some slip-ons. So the mechanical aesthetics of the bike itself and hearing the engine, roar and that control that you had over it was it's kind of a transcendental, I guess is a word. I don't fucking know. I'm not that smart, but it feels badass doing stuff like that or having that sound of an actual Harley. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So my interpretation, I'm in this industry for everything for it to progress, so that everybody can enjoy the fruits of my loins, to say,
Yeah.
The one aspect of I get, and it doesn't matter. I don't care if I'm riding a fucking moped or riding a CVO road glide.
Yeah.
It's the fact of jumping on that bike and feeling free.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the most important part is just having a sense of disconnect from normal society, I guess is the way, you know what I mean?
And that's exactly it. And these guys just don't get it, Nowadays, we breed and promote bar hopping. And check me out, I'm fucking cool with my rhinestone jeans and my fucking Louis Vuitton fucking cut, and I've got check me out, I've got my stones on my fucking helmet. I mean, our forefathers who developed the amount of just being free on their bike would just be turning in their fucking graves.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've had. When I used to do a lot of big wheel stuff myself, I found myself being more connected to the ride and the open road and traveling on bikes and doing things a little bit more roughneck. But obviously, that world is a lot more of a money kind of show. So it's like I was kind of preaching to the wrong choir. These guys want to show off their trucks and their trailers. They want to trailer to all the big events. Their satisfaction was feeling like they had the biggest wallet instead of the satisfaction of feeling like, fuck, man, I rode to Sturgis 75th, 76th, 77th. There's a different satisfaction out of certain people in this industry. You know what I mean? And I think that's what a lot of guys that have more, that build their bikes for more of a show aspect in some aspects. You know, I like to have a show bike, but I also like to beat it like it's not a show bike. You know what I mean? It's like that extra level of cool.
You know, I want to, you know, when I got into building and developing bikes and doing testing for companies, you know, I was all about having like the bling bling, but I wanted a functional bling bling.
Yeah.
You know, when I get a set of wheels from a company and we toss them on and we go ride them 4,000 or 5,000 miles and we ride them hard, and, you know, up here we've got potholes and shit all over the damn place. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't know there's tolerances on a wheel. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a certain level of a spec where the wheel becomes where you need to throw it away, and it's right around 8,000. If you go to True Wheel, a mag wheel, and it's 8,000 south, it's junk. You throw it away.
Yeah. You
know, we've got wheels that we've tested from like Roland Sands, man. They're fucking solid. They're great. We've gotten wheels from other companies. I won't say what they are, but man, we rode them like 3,000 miles and jumped off curbs with them, and they fucking bent. And
yeah.
And that's where I go, man, just these guys just don't give a fuck, dude. They're just trying to make $1 off of us.
Yeah, you can definitely see that there's a lot of, you know, with the demand of like just trying to keep up and do things. It's like the scary thing about being in the parts manufacturer game is that it does become a huge investment for an individual. And, you know, if you invest in making parts and then you got to try to cover the cost of parts, and the whole point of doing all this is to make a living, which is one thing a lot of people forget about. In, you know, when you see the, you know, message boards and chat rooms and Instagrams and Facebooks, is everybody wants to, you know, just kind of like bash the dude that's trying something. But I don't know, man. Like I guess I'm playing devil's advocate there, because I don't think that it's okay to put out a shitty product, period. But, you know, they're out there though, aren't they? 100%.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely, 100%. You know, every product that I design and build, you know, was in the full functional mind for performance and reliability and function. Mm-hmm. You know, these other guys that make this shit, where we've gotten products from companies that are literally so fucking far off, you couldn't even imagine putting them on your bike because they don't fit or they break. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, I understand anodized coating is kind of a devil's advocate, same thing, you know. Yeah. Sometimes you get good at anodizing, sometimes you get shitty anodizing. So that plays a lot. And there's a lot of guys who are in this industry and are working themselves to the fucking bone just to make it because they love the industry so much. Yeah. You know, they love riding. They, you know, same with me. We love making products that people enjoy and love, and they last, and it creates performance for their bike so they can enjoy their bike even more. Yeah. You know, these corporate companies that are making this shit that's just complete fucking junk. It's recycled metal over in China, and they don't give a fuck where it came from, or, you know, by putting, you know, I'm totally against having anything made in China.
Yeah. Well, that's really a lot of our industry.
Against it.
You know, that's a lot of our industry. It's like, one of those.
I won't even.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't even shop at the fucking dollar store. I refuse to shop at the dollar store. I refuse to fucking shop at Walmart. And that's simply because any of all the recycled goods that we have, China fucking buys them. They take them over there, they heat them up, they make them into products, they sell our own fucking garbage right back to us. And it just fucking kills me because it's taking money out of the American families that are trying to survive, you know. Bikers like us that want to fucking ride our bikes, but, you know, we've got a grandfather or father that worked at a steel fucking mill. Well, guess what? It got shut down because they're figuring out it's cheaper to buy the shit from fucking China.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one, man. Like, you know, I'm not very smart when it comes to anything that has to do with the economy or politics or any of that stuff, but there is that feeling of, you know, wishing that, you know, certain things could be done here. And I've had a lot of friends in the industry that make products, and they've had that real conundrum where they're trying to figure out how to make a product that people will actually buy here, you know, because the cost of things are a little bit more expensive. And we live in a day and age where Amazon is where most people do their motorcycle parts shopping. It's where they do their grocery shopping, their fucking clothes, everything that they buy off Amazon. And, you know, the average working class guy that creates a product or makes a tool or anything, it's hard to compete with the pricing and the availability of everything, you know. So it's it's just a fucked world that we're kind of coming into, to be honest with you. It's like one of those
I totally fucking agree, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell you the story. I went into O'Reilly's to get a filter, and it wasn't listed in, they didn't even have normally they'd have like a microfiche, or the actual, back in the day, they had the manual book where you looked up your own fucking part.
Yeah.
So I go up to the lady and I'm like, hey, you guys don't have a book out there, or your little mechanical shit took a shit. It's not working.
Yeah.
So she gets in her computer, looks in her computer, and she's like, well, I can't find it in the computer. I said, don't you have a manual? Don't you guys have like, a Fram book manual that you can look this shit up? And she looked at me, she's like, what's that? And I just thinking to myself, oh, fuck, not you.
Yeah. They
But
got O'Reilly's.
that's what it's become. We've become so reliant and lazy on everything that it just, I agree with you. It's just, we're in a complete fucked age.
Yeah,
and that's what I think now with Harley Davidson, the way that they're going, they're definitely trying to feed that line of mentality with customers to sell motorcycles, and it's just fucking wrong. To me, Harley Davidson has really lost the love of the bike and they are just more into the love of the money.
Yeah, and I mean, that's that corporate mentality, but it's weird because there are certain, like I have a new 19 bagger, and I love the bike. I really do. There are things about it that I wish were different, but I like how the technology is kind of slowly inched along, so it doesn't feel like, if you go buy a pair of goddamn, like when I used to be in sport bikes, you would buy a Gixxer 1000, and then literally 2 years later, a completely redesigned model would come out that's twice as fast, twice as light, twice as better, and you're stuck in your 5 or 6 year note on this fucking bike. You know what I mean? So there's that aspect, but I've always enjoyed the fact that Harley had a slow progression, but I've also felt like they could have, the styling has always been kind of legendary in one aspect, but you see the Indian coming out with the FTR and just the technology they put into like the suspension and just all the little aspects of the bike that's really designed to fucking rip around corners and run down the highway. And you look at the price point, you look at Harley's, and it's hard to figure, like, why couldn't Harley just build something that competes with the flat track, with the racing, with some of that, I don't know. It's weird. Like, you see Olin's on fucking Indians, but we get that fucking rundown Showa shit, you know what I mean, that doesn't really do anything, especially the inverted versions.
So I'll tell you the story on this. So I worked for Harley Davidson off and on in my lifetime. I worked for them off and on for about 5 years. Yeah. And worked with corporate Harley on quite a few things. I used to work for Recluse Clutch, being the West Coast rep and a test rider for Recluse to help develop their Harley program.
Yeah.
So getting to know these people and their mindset, Harley Davidson is all about control. They want to control the customer. Now they tried to do the line, and I'm sure you remember, where I believe it was last year they put a note out to all the dealers stating that any Harley Davidson that had been modified beyond anything that Harley Davidson produces, rather OEM parts or Screaming Eagle parts, would automatically void their warranty. Mm-hmm. And the reason being this is that Harley Davidson isn't in the business for selling motorcycles. They're in the business of selling parts.
Yeah.
That's why the development on the primaries, how hard would it be to develop a primary where you could pull the derby cover off and actually pull out and have an inspection cover where you can literally take the inspection cover, pull it off, undo the tension on the primary chain, and access to remove a clutch right out the primary without removing the outer primary off. Yeah. How hard would that be? It would be fucking easy. They could have done it in 2016 when they redeveloped it, and they could have done it in 2017 when they developed it for the M8. But they chose not to because they're in the market to sell parts.
Yeah. That's those small wins that they're going to get. And, some of us brand loyal people are just going to, keep getting spoon fed this stuff. It's like, back to the electric bike, I listened to another podcast, Chris Callan and the Cycle Source magazine podcast, and they did a pretty good take on it. And I'd have to agree with them that basically Chris Callan said, he agrees that, with what they're doing it's good that they're pushing the envelope and the boundaries of it, but it's like it doesn't really agree with the price point and the some of the aspects of it. It's like, I guess to break it down, it's like it's cool that Harley's trying to do new shit, you know what I mean, and trying to evolve and whatnot, but it's, I don't know, it's still a little bit like way behind the curve. A $30,000 motorcycle that you can only ride 110 miles, and then you got to charge it for 45 minutes at a dealership. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Once again, it's all about controlling the customer.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's what I feel Harley Davidson, all these new CEOs and presidents and, people that work for PNR,
yeah,
they fired all the people that I knew and have brought in these new millennials and snowflakes to try and basically spoon feed this new generation to curve them to buy Harley Davidson motorcycles. Mm-hmm. It really broke my heart when I heard that they were going to discontinue the Dyna. They closed down that plant, put a bunch of people out of work. They got rid of the V-Rod, and a lot of people didn't like the V-Rod, but if you like to go fast and you wanted to really drag race a bike, you build a V-Rod, because that is a fast fucking bike.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm more concerned now of, the evolution where the industry is going to go. And now that I've been telling everybody in this industry, for 10 years, baggers have been the fucking way to go.
Yeah.
I've been developing baggers over the last 10 years of putting big motors in and suspension and all the development of being a suspension tech, of working for all these race teams and putting them into Harleys made a huge difference. I mean, that was the number one thing. When I got a new bike, I completely redid the suspension so my bike can handle. Then I worked on the motor. Then I worked on the clutch, primary, chain drives. It just fucking went on and on. The next thing you know, I'm sitting back going, fuck, I'm 50 grand into a fucking motorcycle.
Yeah.
And it's basically stock.
Yeah. That's the weird thing about it, is that, these prices to do anything, it can creep up real quick. It's like the nickel and diamond, like it might even be the cheaper stuff, like, oh, well, you need this and this, and it's like $50 here, $150 there, $300 there. And next thing you know, you just did like a cam job and replaced everything in there, and you're $2,500 into it. You know what I mean? And I think it gets overlooked because people just look at the fine-tuned price tags and they don't see all the in-between work and the in-between gaskets and things like that take place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. And, everybody's pushing. And look, every shop has got to make a living. Everybody's trying, make a buck to survive, because they got into the industry because they love it. And I think the prices, like, I think right now, going over drag and Takaraki, and I believe even hard drive, I think the price increase went up November, December, and it was effective in the books, and it went up 8%. It got to the point now of us going, being a shop owner going, fuck, how the fuck are we supposed to survive? Well, I just don't fucking get it. And it's rather the manufacturers are in cahoots with the aftermarket manufacturers to drive the prices up, to push them back to the factory. I don't know. It's just getting harder and harder being a shop owner to fucking make a living at this stuff.
It's kind of a really rough conversation, but me and some of my friends have been talking a lot about the distributor catalogs, like your Drag and Tucker and hard drives. And I know a lot of businesses, like hell, even D&D Exhaust, like they don't want to be in those catalogs. They would rather save that percentage that they have to eat to allow the catalogs to make money themselves, to just use their own social media and their own means of advertising to get their pipes out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it comes right down to corporate greed. Working for Recluse and doing stuff with Fox, I saw that exact end of all these big parts manufacturers and distributors wanting to buy from everybody, and I get it. I like Rusty over at D&D. I think they make a great product, and, their price point, they're right in the book. I mean, what you paid for, you're getting 100% worth your money.
Yeah.
All the other shit they sell in the books is just fucking junk.
Yeah, it makes it.
I mean,
it makes
I
it.
really don't even understand. I mean, I run stainless steel exhausts. Mm-hmm. I like them. I think they perform well. I think the price point on a lot of them that are complete fucking junk that people sell inside the books, I mean, the price point's way out of the fucking book. They're taking complete advantage of the popularity market.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's aspects to where like certain smaller companies getting lumped into those books that, you don't have to individually put in a whole lot of dealer apps with, especially for like service and stuff like that. But I see the price increase continuing to go up. And, some shops they struggle to be able to, get a mechanical labor rate that's, if they raise their mechanical labor rate from one year to the next, up 8%, like sometimes their customers will have a fit. Most of them I think will be okay, because most when you work with a shop on a one-on-one basis, you kind of have respect for them, and that money's going somewhere that helps feed their family or keep them on a bike as well. And that's, a much better place to put your money than, just a big corporate.
Well, I understand the realistic factors of, pricing, like cost of living increase. It happens all over the, of the market,
Yeah.
As we watch gasoline fluctuate as to a price of a gallon of milk, it goes up and down. And I understand it's hard for them to keep, the market value as, the stock market goes up and down on metals and products. So I get that to aspect. But, the factors of, I remember back in the day when we used to buy tires. To give an example, I remember buying a set of BFG mud tires, 31, 10, 50, 15s. They used to cost me $80 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, you can't touch them for $235, and the price for a drum of oil is under 50 fucking bucks.
Yeah.
And they always blamed the problem of the cost increase was on the price of the oil. I'm calling bullshit. I'm calling straight out just corporate fucking greed.
Yeah, it's weird how like the cost of oil will go up and it'll cause a lot of things to go up, but then it'll go down and those prices don't fluctuate. You know what I mean? Because it's the same thing for the paint companies, the paint industry, because we have, a lot of the stuff that we use is also have, don't get me lying on here being an idiot, but basically gas prices affect certain things for us as well too. But when those prices go up, they don't ever come back down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, once again, we're right back to corporate greed.
Yeah.
And I think it's fucked. I'm complete fucking anti-big corporations that are about, marketing and taking advantage of the American person.
Yeah.
Just not about it.
So, back to the bike stuff, man, what was it? When did you officially start jumping into the Harleys and really applying a lot of your, background into them as far as the suspension and other areas that you were working in? And where were you at?
So I'd say that this all started back, I'd say in year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Year 2000, I really started getting heavily into the motorcycle scene, riding my Harleys, developing my own products, and, just working on friends' bikes here and there. Mm-hmm. And it didn't really start taking a play until I got into the club and started really riding around. Mm-hmm. And it got to the point of riding with all my club brothers and realizing that nobody could keep up with me. You always have your friends, oh, I'm so fucking fast, this and that. And I'm like, dude, let's fucking tear up the hill and see who's fucking got it and who don't.
Yeah.
Money talks, bullshit walks.
Yeah.
And it didn't come till literally, I would say, 3-4 years ago when I met a crew of 2 other guys, my friend Rick that passed away, mm-hmm. and my friend Rob. And we all started riding together. Well, come to find out, these fucking guys were on the same page as I was. Mm-hmm. And we found ourselves pushing each other harder and harder and harder. Next thing you know, in between our group, we're all starting to race up this hill.
Yeah.
And going into Southern California and seeing friends of ours and, people talking shit. And next thing you know, we're racing up Ortega Highway.
Yeah.
So it started there, and it just developed into the love and passion of wanting to ride our bikes even more.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started getting into this, it started, I'd say the bagger movement, it just kind of wasn't starting to go. So it just started going around, reaching out and talking to people and going to Sturgis and Daytona and talking to more people. And, people found out people were interested, but people weren't ready to make the push to go over to becoming a performance bagger lover.
Yeah, yeah.
And nowadays it's getting there, and I know you guys are trying to push it and everybody else, but there's just not enough getting pushed to it to start making it really jump off. There's a lot of great guys in this industry and manufacturers that I think are definitely in the top of their game in pushing performance factor. Jimmy Light from HBI, he's a fucking man.
Yeah, they're a sponsor on this podcast, so.
Jimmy's a fucking great guy, dude. I mean, I literally believe, and I'm the no bullshit guy. I like to use shit that works and shit that doesn't work, we throw in the fucking trash.
Yeah.
But Jimmy is literally the man when it comes to throttle body and carburetors. There's fucking none better in this industry, in the world, I believe. Then we got into, start testing everybody's products. We worked with Paul Lindell over at Lindell Brakes and helped him develop some stuff, and it just didn't work out. And then we started working with Brake Tech, and once again, fuck, dude, it's the best shit on the market.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about going through a corner, riding the bike 50 miles, riding the brakes hard, and the fucking brakes start warping.
Yeah. Well,
but,
there's a lot of people that are, kind of coming over to the, there's plenty of people that's already been pushing it for the last couple of years, like yourself and, Kraus and fucking Big Bear and, Mad Jab Dell up there. I mean, there's lots of that, but, I'm seeing more independent shops are taking the plunge now. And I think that that's really going to help. It's almost like, you got your chess pieces like you guys, right? Like you're the big, you're the, the king, the queen, the rooks, but and not to like say this in a derogatory way, but there's all these pawns out here that start pushing this whole deal is what's going to really help create a bigger movement with this type of bike. And I think that the good thing about it is that, people get to enjoy everything they buy for their bike. They get to enjoy how it makes the bike ride better or smoother, or it helps push their ability more on a motorcycle, as opposed to like, in the big wheel stuff, it's like it's more of an aesthetic. Like everything you added to the bike technically took away from the actual performance of one form or fashion or another of the bike. So you were taking away the bike's ability, but it was adding curb appeal. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to grow. But go ahead.
And I totally agree. I think nowadays with the performance parts that are made, it's looking at the aesthetics, and it's got to be good looking, but it's got to be functional.
Yeah.
I don't build products and be like, oh, hey, let me just take a piece of shit, stick it on the wall. Fuck, it works great. Let's just run that.
Yeah.
No, let's really break it down. Let's find the fucking best products that we can design with the materials. Let's fucking machine them, design them, port them, stick them on a flow bench, and let's fucking make the most amount of horsepower. So we're giving our customers the best products.
Yeah.
And I keep going back to this corporate greed bullshit, working for the race teams. If you weren't a factory racer where you provided some type of element to make that company succeed, you got the second rate shit, man. You were fucking nobody.
Yeah.
And I've seen this firsthand. And if you're a rider for the team, they're going to make sure you get the best shit because they want you on fucking top because they want to sell their products.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing, I still believe, even in the Harley industry. I think there's a lot of great products out there. Everybody fucking holds back. They don't always give everybody the A product, which they should. There's no fucking reason why everybody shouldn't get an A product in this industry. When you're spending, anywhere between $1,200 to $2,000 for a fucking pipe, let me tell you what, that son of a bitch with the right combination of my motor should fucking split the goddamn atoms and make my fucking hair catch on fire.
Yeah.
I really hate to say, there's a lot of fucking shitty products out there. I could go off on tires, brake pads, brakes, motors, intakes. I'll tell you this part. So we developed an intake off of an idea that we saw, and I got the product because I thought, fuck, it was a great idea. Let's try it out, see how good it is. And we get it up, and we open in the box, and there's fucking shit-ass welds everywhere. There's literally metal flakes inside the intake. There are fucking metal spurs off the damn thing and slivers. It wasn't fucking ground evenly. I mean, it looked fucking horrible. Short aside of the air filter, which was fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Generally, we spent fucking $300 on a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I took that, and I'm like, fuck, this is the reason why when a person buys this product, they get disappointed
Yeah.
and not wanting to get into the performance bagger because they literally have just been duped into buying some fucking piece of shit that probably cost $80 and $90 to make, and they sold it for $300.
Mm-hmm.
So we went through, redeveloped it, and developed it to the point where our system no longer uses the breathers to go into the intake.
Yeah.
We have a whole separate system that goes down, all stainless steel, that goes down and drips out if your breathers are kicking out oil.
Yeah. Is there a benefit to like not redistributing that oil back to the? I mean, I'm not very smart in the mechanics of things.
So when you're the bike needs to breathe, that way you don't create pressure. But so when your bike gets really hot, it'll get hot. The oil will get hot. It'll flash boil itself up. It'll come through the breathers. And the way the systems are now, because of the EPA, it pushes it right back into the intake, goes through the throttle body and back into your motor, not only creating horsepower loss, but also creating overheating to the motor itself. Mm-hmm. It does nothing but cause problems. Overheats, coats everything with oil, coats the top of your piston with oil, and you lose horsepower.
So is that why a lot of people offer like those breather systems where it's just like a recirculating or something like that, where it's just like the breather goes from one side to the other as far as the bolts for the heads?
And it should. Well, generally the systems like S&S that come out with, they have a breather system that has a little catch can that allows it to breathe and just go down to the bottom. That way it doesn't recirculate back through the intake.
Okay. That makes sense. But yeah, I mean, like I said, that's the evolution of everything, though, is getting your hands on current products and trying to make them better, and that's what drives the industry to make better quality products. You know what I mean? And keeps us all on our toes. Same thing happens in the paint game. Like, we think we're doing all a good job, and then some other dude comes along and does some shit that's like, holy fuck. Now we have to learn how to do this. We have to all step up our game to stay in the top tier of whatever it is that we're into. You know what I mean? So.
And that's the whole thing. I mean, we've all got to the point of this new evolution of, there's, if we look at Harleys, we all know there's been an evolution of improvement over the centuries and decades.
Yeah.
And the fact of looking same as you, even musicians, is that we were all influenced by somebody, and their influence made us develop what we thought was cool today and that we liked.
Yeah.
Me and myself, guys that I looked up to when I was building bikes was like, Indian Larry.
Yeah.
We even looked at the fact of, back in the day when Jesse James had West Coast choppers, and we looked at some of his shit, and I was like, fuck, that's fucking kind of cool. But I understand the pressures of being a builder and a business owner and realizing, fuck, I've always got to one step up, and I got to one step up because sooner or later you keep building the same, rather painting the same paint jobs or building the same bikes before everybody goes, man, your shit's fucking outdated, dude. Why don't you do something new? Yeah,
exactly. It's struggles, man. There's levels of fame that come to certain people, like your Jesse Jameses and your Indian Larrys that, even, Indian Larry never got to see what it was like on social media, but, it just, I get like why some of these dudes are kind of like, thought of as dicks, you know what I mean, to people because of, just, you hear about it. Like we hear about Jesse James all the time. He's local here in Texas now, but they're making products, they're doing this stuff and they're building it. Next thing you know, they got to be showmen instead of just, mechanics or welders or designers. They have to learn how to be these different people due to the fact of their popularity getting big because of them doing, shit that most of us do in a garage. You know what I mean?
And I get it. I mean, video killed the radio star, and that's how I feel. Fame. I'm not in this for fucking fame. Fuck fame.
Yeah.
I could give a rat's ass about that shit. I just want to fucking ride. The most important thing to me is, my family, my business, and my friends. Mm-hmm. I don't give a shit. I don't need to be that fucking guy on TV and everything. Even though we, did a bunch of pilots and a bunch of filmings with the guys from Discovery Channel, but
yeah, that was,
when it really really comes down to it, and I'll explain this. Well, I'll answer your question in a second. when it all really came down to it, man, it's just a bunch of fake ass shit, and that's just not who the fuck I want to be or who I am.
Yeah. And it's real interesting because, like when that pilot came out, that everybody kind of had an opinion about it. It was just, there was just a lot of movement on social media with it. But I thought it was real interesting when you kind of told me, how that whole thing was going, with the TV show opportunities and how it kind of stopped because of that unfortunate incident. So I just wanted to give you the...
So the whole thing, the factors come is, I looked at the aspect of doing this was, once again, my point of contribution to try and create movement in this industry and show people where the next level was. And then I understand there's internet trolls, there's fucking boy lovers, and there's kids that still live, fucking 30-year-old kids that fucking live in the basement of their fucking house and it's a fucking mama's boy. Yeah. I get it, but these are guys that are fucking nobodies, nothings, that will never, ever give anything into this industry at all, except of being a fucking waste of air, so to say. But the opportunity came, we took it. We were really hoping that it would create traction to open up this industry completely wide open.
So what was, like, before we finish up that thing, like, what was really going to be the premise of it? Because it, regardless of anything, like any kind of bike show, especially something that's going to cater to performance motorcycles and shed light on it, like it could have done nothing but good for our industry to build it up, correct?
Oh, absolutely. So the premise of the show was about everyday life of a crew and a business owner building bikes for Joe Schmo, anybody and everybody. And when the lights got shut off, it was time to put the shit on the street and race. Yeah.
And so did it have did it have like kind of like that what's that, like those racing shows on like Discovery? Was it going to have kind of like that kind of vibe to it where you have your everyday personal life, but then y'all go to this town to race, and then there's you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, the idea was, well, I became the developer of the show. My whole idea was, it actually was me and my friend Rick Williams. So our ideas was, we wanted to go to every town. We wanted to give everybody the opportunity to be a part of this. Yeah. I didn't want it to be, oh, this is all about us. Check us out. We're fucking cool. Yada, yada. No, this was about everybody in the industry. I wanted to go to every single shop of people that are in the industry and give them the spotlight and fucking show what they got and ride it out. Yeah. Put it on the track, fucking ride it in the streets. That's what it was supposed to be about. It was supposed to be about everyday life. Well, unfortunately, the corporate guys have a fucking better idea for it and what they want and what they perceive what was going to sell. I think the biggest portion of the fact of losing Rick and the horrific accident that happened, and it wasn't the fact that it was just an accident, it was just such a horrific accident that it scared everybody, and it made everybody really back off. I mean, we had corporate executives calling up saying, man, we really think that this will be the #1 show in America. And I was like, fuck, cool, awesome. I was looking forward to the fact of really opening this up wide up. And it not only would have been beneficial for Harley Davidson, but every single person who owned a shop was going to be able to benefit for this. Yeah. Because, give an example, when Sons of Anarchy, fuck, everybody went out and bought a Dyna, put T-bars on and a front fairing. Yeah.
Me too.
You too, huh?
Yeah, so, I mean, fortunately for me, though, like, I was in Big Wheel Baggers when that shit came out, and it was only through painting bikes in NorCal that I got really influenced by that Dyna FXR culture that kind of moved me towards where I'm at now. But yeah, you're right, man. Like, those TV shows can really inspire a lot of people to, do their bikes in a certain type of way and help really grow and build a portion of the industry. You know what I mean?
And I see, John Shope at Dirty Bird. Yeah. A lot of people talk shit about the guy and think he's a fucking prick. I mean, I actually like John. I think he's a pretty good guy, and I definitely think he is a great big bagger artist, man. He does a fucking amazing job. He really does. And, my hat's down to all you guys, being painters and bike builders that are building these big wheel baggers. It's a lot of fucking work. It's a lot of time. And, the amount of detail you guys put into it is fucking insane.
I think what was cool about what Shope did is that he kind of, he really did help forefather the big wheel bagger movement that took place, but he kind of stepped out of it for the most part when it became some clown shit. You know what I mean? Like he kind of stepped out and went to the Softails and started building nice bikes. Yes, his bikes, even the baggers he had built at the later part of his bagger building stuff was kind of wild and crazy. But at the same time, they weren't spaceships. They were still rideable. They still had, swag and like style to them that was sellable. And then you get to this point now where some of these bikes are just like, you can't even, like, you have to be delicate taking them off the trailer because all the fiberglass is going to crack on it. You know what I mean? It's just it's a crazy world now.
Well, I see the one portion that really fucking drives me nuts is always the haters.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
these guys have nothing better to do but to fucking hate on you for trying to do something better for the industry. And I look at this, I'm like, motherfucker, you think you could do better? Then fucking do it.
Yeah.
Put your money out there. Put your fucking time in there. Put your family off for 3-4 fucking years of spending any time with them just to develop products to try and make the industry fucking get wide open and become better. And I see where, a lot of people became jealous. I look at a lot of different factors of where the industry was going and the contributions, like what Jeff Holt was doing. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Literally, Jeff Holt was Hot Bike Magazine.
Oh, yeah,
that's 100%. All there fucking was to it. And that show and that magazine would have never failed if they would have just kept it to Jeff.
Yeah, they just, it was one of those corporate deals once again that, they wanted to make money, and they wanted, cutting out Jeff, cutting out Jordan. Those are the biggest costs of the magazine other than, that was the biggest cost. So cutting them out and just trying to do online content, which is what they're doing now, and still promote the Hot Bike Tour, which I don't know if I'd really want to support that with it just being what it is. They were giving to the industry like both Jeff and Jordan and even Morgan that was at Street Choppers. Those dudes like put in work. They rode. They were on the Hot Bike Tour riding bikes with us. You know what I mean? It was a much different aspect of a magazine culture. You know what I mean? As opposed to once those dudes got kind of shit canned, it was just like, what are y'all now? You're just like, you have no soul anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the one thing that I didn't fucking very much care for like Baggers Magazine or Hot Bike is I think, the editors really paid attention to their favorites. They didn't give the opportunity for other fucking people to show what they have, the bigger and better things that were coming up.
Yeah, the problem is with that magazine stuff is that they just don't have the ad space, or they don't have the magazine space to fulfill how big the industry is now. It's a small industry, but still, when you're trying to fill a page, a magazine, like, dude, you just look at Instagram in a week and you could fill a fucking book with new bikes that are getting built and put out there that, some of them might not be the quality that they need to be in a magazine, but fuck, we've all seen bikes in magazines that should have never been there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fucking true.
Yeah.
Well, you really look at it, Jace, realistically across the board for building performance baggers, to me, honestly, there's probably about 4 or 5 of us. That's it.
Yeah, I would say there's like 4 or 5 of you guys that are on the bigger level as far as developing parts and really helping to structure the scene of what is performance or more purpose-built motorcycles like this. You know what I mean? But like I was saying on the phone yesterday, I also think that by you guys supporting and putting this out there, and then other small shops, and it kind of like sweeps across to the smaller, ponds, I guess is what I was saying earlier, then you start seeing a much bigger industry kind of connect and structure together. But it's you guys, you were touching on it a while ago. There's a lot of sacrifice in creating a scene and creating a movement. There's a lot of sacrifice in doing anything that you're trying to build something for the hopes that it grows, whether it does or not. It's kind of all up in the air, but you invest a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of ideas, a lot of friendships. That shit all comes along. You know what I mean? So I get it 100%. The TV show thing would have probably been a really big thing for it to move, but there's still time for those type of things in YouTube
and yeah, it can. I mean, there's still time for, to do something in this industry to flip it around. Obviously Hollywood, they want something so that they can fucking capitalize on it.
Yeah.
But realistically, when it comes down to it, it's just a lot of fucking lies and a lot of bullshit. I remember when it first came out and we released the Sizzler to it, and a lot of people are like, "Oh fuck, you're not a writer, you're an actor, this and that." And I got to kind of step back, and I was kind of laughing about it, and I was like, man, that's fucking great because, I like being that Joe Schmo in the fucking dive bar in the middle of nowhere, and somebody talks shit about how fucking fast they are, and we go out, and by the time I hit their gear, I look back and they're fucking nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
That's the shit I love. And I love completely being fucking underrated for the shit. But a lot of people didn't realize that that's the real fucking thing. When you saw that the Sizzler being made, that's real dude, we did everything fucking 100% illegal. We had a lot of cameras there, and we didn't have anybody stopping traffic. The shitty part is that we had to do it kind of like half speed due to the fact that the cameras couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah.
The last portion where you saw me go through the finish line there, that's 150 miles an hour.
Damn.
And you can see that's a blur. And the guys in the camera, I mean, we did retakes because it was kind of funny. All of us started fucking racing each other. Nobody could just fucking sit back and kind of cruise and kind of make it look exciting. By like the third take, everybody was like, it's fucking on. We're fucking racing. On the takeoff, we banged bars. I scratched the shit out of my bike because one guy got fucking loose and banged into me, and I fucking kicked him off my fucking bike and sent him in over to the fucking gully. I mean, it was crazy and fun. I had a blast doing it.
Yeah.
And that's what writing is supposed to be all about, being free, having fun with your friends. The fact that the whole movement went to, let me build a bike, I'll check me out here. Let me go to Macy's and get me a fucking set of Reinhardt fucking jeans and my tassels. And oh shit, I need my fucking, let me get my lipstick and my fucking lip balm before I go ride, because God knows I'm going to get fucking windburn. Well, I just don't know where the real bikers fucking went,
Well, yeah, dude, trust me, I've tried to be vocal about that stuff, but it's kind of weird, man. Like the culture's weird. It's way different than it was when I first got into it. It's still there. There's still like this yearn, but I think that, with just the climate of what our world is now, especially with social media, where everybody and their fucking mom has, an opinion that feels like they have to share it. It's just weird, man. Like when that video came out, man, it was like, like I said, I've done the Discovery Channel shit before, when you're doing it and they're telling you to be this guy, and hey man, when you get done, flick the camera off. And I'm like, dude, I don't do that. That's not my thing. That's not who I am. But the Discovery Channel was trying to push everybody to kind of have this like super badass kind of mentality. When it's like, dude, no, I'm a regular dude. Like I say fuck a lot, but you guys won't let me do that on the show. So you want me to do the middle finger so you can blur it out and just make it seem like I'm cool. So, I get that video came out, and then like a lot of people just kind of like, it was just like when the Dinah shit died. You know what I mean? Everybody and their fucking mom had a meme. So it was like, it just gives a lot of people that didn't have anything to do something to do. You know what I mean?
Well, the one thing I did like about it, Chase, is that it fucking went it went fucking global. The video went fucking global.
Yeah.
I get emails from people from fucking the Philippines, fucking loving it and shit, and people in Switzerland, Australia, New Zealand, Russia. I mean, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I know it did is it made people think now more about performance.
Yeah.
And honestly, wanting to get out and ride more.
I have to agree with you, man. Regardless, I mean, fortunately, like, I'm glad I know you now. You know what I mean? That makes it a lot easier. That way, when people are saying something, or hell, even if I have a comment, at least I can be like, well, this is who he is, or this is who he is not. You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool. But I think that also with you getting out, like you said, you've been out in a lot of places, but you know, like pushing your kind of agenda, you can do that still. We talked yesterday, you were talking about going to Sturgis and pushing this performance bagger building stuff. And, you know, I think it's good, man. Like you just got to stay the course and ride out the waves.
And I agree. And I'm staying the fucking course, you know, fucking snow and all. I mean, this is my life, you know, and I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop building bikes. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to stop fucking riding it, outrunning cops. I mean, I'm not going to fucking do it because it's me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm going to fucking keep partying all through my fucking life and riding as fast as I can till the day they got to fucking drive that fucking nail in my coffin and shove me in the ground.
Yeah. That's the way you do it, man. Like I said, man, you know, you were kind of touching on like just the movement, and I guess I could see how like guys like you and maybe even Dale and Mad Jap and these guys can kind of start feeling a little jaded after a while of really putting in so much effort into like this scene that's starting it's very infant still, you know what I mean? And I could see how it gets to a point where you're like, fuck, man, is this ever going to blow up or take off? Or I could see how you would doubt it. You know what I mean? Because I do too, man. I fucking put all my chips in this style of motorcycle, even though it's not all baggers. It's still this style of more performance-oriented motorcycles in a Harley world, which is kind of an oxymoron, but it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, I mean, when before my friend Rick died, I mean, we were 100% diehard into the shit. I mean, we were looking online to see, you know, who's got the better shit. And, you know, the first person that we really met into this industry was Sacha Kraus. Yeah. And Sacha was starting to make some stuff. And, you know, we started working with Sacha and giving him ideas and, you know, things towards suspension and this and that. And I kind of find it funny because I actually developed the first piggyback shock for the bagger, the remote piggyback.
Yeah.
So I had developed off the air shock. I completely revalved it. I put we charged it with nitrogen and oil, and we put a remote reservoir into the back, and so Sacha. And the next thing I know is I see Sacha comes up, you know, sets up the Nolans and had them design something. I just kind of fucking laughed at myself, just going, you know, well, at least it's, you know, going in the right direction. And then I came out with the axle adjusters.
Yeah. Everybody's got those, right?
Yeah, everybody's got them fucking things now, you know. And then I came up with a 49 millimeter conversion kit that you can put on the late model bikes.
Yeah.
You know, and Jeff Holt put that on his bike, and a few other people have bought the things. I mean, it works fucking great. It turns your late model bike. I mean, it completely changes the way that fucking bike handles. Mm-hmm. I mean, fuck, they should have put that shit on the fucking bikes back in 2006. Yeah. I don't know where the fuck Harley was thinking, but unless they were going, fuck, we got a lot of shit in the fucking warehouse we got to get rid of.
Yeah.
You know, but that should have been something developed a long fucking time ago. And, you know, still, even the guys that I know that do R&D for Harley Davidson, they're still so fucking far behind in production. It's ridiculous. You know, this M8 motor is just literally a piece of shit.
You don't like them? What do you think? What's your take on them? You a twin cam guy?
The thought and the idea. I'm you know what? I'm a big fan of the twin cam.
Okay.
You know, it's a tried, true, proven motor. Mm-hmm. You know, it's damn near fucking bulletproof. But, you know, you looked at this M8 that they came out with, and it's like, you know, any development of going into a new product, you know. Yeah. You know, every 20 years, Harley Davidson changes their motors. They go to a new development, which is great because, you know, you're evolving. You're changing the industry. You know, I think the design of the head is fucking great. I think the problem with the head, number one, is, you know, you're only having 80 pounds of seat pressure on the fucking valves. So valves are snapping. They're floating valves. Bikes are blowing up. Their heating system that you did for the development of the oil was fucking so ass backwards. You know, I don't know where they got the idea for this, because, I mean, now you got locker boxes leaking. You got base gaskets leaking, cases warping, bikes fucking blowing up. I mean, the development of this, realistically, on the twin cam, the only problem they really had was the development on the cam plate of the spring tensioners. In 2006, when they switched over and went to hydraulic, all those problems went away. Then Harley decided, okay, we're going to, you know, this is another thing that kicks my ass is, you know, back in 2006 and 2004, Harley Davidson had a hydraulic clutch, and it only came on the CVO models.
Yeah.
Well, you know, 2000 2014, they came out with standard with the hydraulic clutch coming out on the touring models.
Yeah.
Well, they still have nothing but fucking problems. And once again, it's kind of like that same theory, man. If the wheel isn't broken, don't fix it. Leave it the fuck alone.
Well, I know a lot of people.
Next time, what the fuck are you doing?
I know a lot of people that opt to go back to more of a clutch or a cable clutch operation over the hydraulic clutch for just more grab and go. You know what I mean? I think is what they do it.
See, the whole development with that as well, when I worked at Recluse, is I was always looking at how to transfer all the horsepower off that crank to that back wheel. And 90% of it is in the clutch basket. You realize the stock clutch slips 20%?
I didn't know
right
that.
off the bat.
Yeah.
20% you're losing horsepower right off the fucking bat.
That's
Due to
a
the fact
lot.
that the design of the basket doesn't allow enough oil to penetrate the plates and the fibers. They're called drives and fibers.
Yeah.
So the drives, which are the steel plates, and the fibers aren't getting enough oil in there to cool them down. And, of course, they said, well, we want to create friction for them to grab. Well, the development of that is supposed to be into the fiber itself.
So what do you think is the best thing to do for your clutch? Like, what's one of the best upgrades you think anybody could do to clutch twin cam or anything, I'd say the first thing to do off the bat is I tell everybody, dude, every time you change your oil, change your primary fluid. Number one. Number two would be use a 2050 oil. Do not use an ATF. The way that ATF is designed, it is designed for clutch packs exactly like a Harley clutch pack, but the problem is that the ATF has to have a cooling system. Now, inside the primary there, you have 5 points of heat. Okay, so you have the clutch, you have the stator, you have the magneto, you have the chain. Yeah.
And you have your compensator sprocket. So all those points are creating friction, creating heat. So the only reason why a primary is enclosed with oil in it is actually to cool down the stator.
Yeah.
And to create lubrication. So, because you can run a dry setup, a vented setup with a different clutch, and you don't have to worry about lubrication. Well, when you put ATF in there, so the viscosity is so thin, and it's really a detergent-based oil, it needs to be cooled down. When it reaches a certain temperature, viscosity breaks down, and it should be running through a cooler. That's why you see on transmissions, it runs through a cooler to keep the transmission cool, because it's under such an extreme load. Well, if you're out there fucking doing burnouts and ripping out, what the hell do you think you're exactly doing to your primary setup? You're doing the exact same thing.
Well, that makes sense because, like you said, the ATF fluid is needing to be cooled off. I mean, most cars that use automatic transmission fluid, they have a transmission cooler. You know what I mean? It's ran through a cooling system as well. So that makes a lot of sense. So basically, you're saying like using you say 2050? Is that what you said?
A 2050, 2060 oil.
Yeah,
is probably the best thing that you can do. That's
cool. That's a good idea.
And I'm a big fan of conventional oils. I don't use synthetics. I don't believe synthetic. It only takes 20% of an additive to be inserted into a conventional oil for it to be considered synthetic. So why in the fuck am I going to put plastic inside my bike?
Yeah.
I tell a lot of people, it's kind of funny, a lot of people don't realize, using the Delo 1540, is probably one of the best oils to put inside your stock Harley Davidson. The Syn 3, the Formula Plus is okay to use, but the Syn 3 is fucking junk.
That's the Harley oil, right?
I wouldn't put that in my fucking lawnmower.
So I mean, other than like the oil and stuff, I mean, do you think those pressure plates those added pound pressure plates that they sell, from like Barnett or Harley or whatever, are those worth it, or is it a better idea to go to more of a lockup style?
I mean, realistically, stock clutches work pretty good. Doing development with Recluse, I've tested fucking every oil out and almost every clutch out. Stock clutch works great. The Screaming Eagle clutch works fine, but it's a simple thing as well, is that you have to have a combinations. You need to get a better diaphragm spring.
Yeah.
You need to get a different pressure plate to go on there. All those, it all adds up. And if you're a normal Joe Schmo that just cruises and rides their bike, your stock clutch and you change oil, it's going to last. But when you start adding horsepower and you start riding that fucking thing hard, you've got to bulk it up. It's like having a dam. You have this little lake and you have a little dam. Well, as soon as you anytime you increase anything, you've got to bulk it up. And the same thing goes for a clutch.
Are you a fan of doing on the compensator, going with the solid compensator setups or? You know what?
Me personally, I use the Evolution compensator gear.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the fucking best things on the market as well. You really want one thing I've noticed, and it doesn't matter what size motor you have. Evolution makes the 32 solid compensator gear.
Mm-hmm.
It kicks up your RPMs, but overall, it takes the lug out of the motor.
So you're just getting more direct power to it, basically.
And it's exactly, it actually brings back the motor
mm-hmm.
to work inside the perimeters of that cam.
Mm.
I tell people all the time, people look online, they're like, oh, well, I'm just going to buy a pipe and I'm going to buy that intake and this tuner and my bike's going to fucking rip.
Yeah.
Well, it'll work good because it's made to design in those parameters. But when it comes down to building a motor, it's all about the motion of making sure everything matches. You got to make sure that the cam is going to match the cylinder fill and the compression. You got to make sure that you've got enough flow out of the head that's going to match that cam. And you've got to make sure you have the right intake to feed the motor
mm-hmm.
and the right exhaust to kick it all out.
Yeah. So it's a full circle of like all that stuff. Do you think
it realistically is? I mean, it's all about matching every portion of the motor to the performance product.
So for people out there that may be looking for like the first steps into getting into the performance motorcycle market, would you still say that the best thing to do is to just upgrade suspension or get the suspension and brakes dialed in before really going too deep in the motor, or what do you think?
It just it all depends on what the person is trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Are you a long rider or a short rider? Do you go cross country? Are you looking for performance? Are you looking for comfort? There's so many different aspects you can go. Going from
combinations
seats to suspension to brakes to tires. The first thing I generally try to get people to do is find out what tires they're using. I say, okay, switch over to tire and see how your bike rides now.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm a big fan of the Commander 2.
Me too as well. Mm-hmm.
I think the Commander 2 is a fucking great tire. It's an all-around great tire. I think one of my second favorite tires is the Shinko 777.
Yeah.
Even though it wears out fast.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They just wear out fast.
But they stick. The whole thing is that, I don't give.
They're a soft tire, right?
I don't give a shit. I'll throw the fucking tires away after I'm doing them for one race if I burn them up.
Yeah.
But I want to know that I have the security of knowing going around through a corner, I'm not going to slide out.
Yeah. Well, see, like the Shinkos I know are softer compound to my knowledge, and they really do stick, but they wear out quicker. But, I ran Commander 2s on the last 3 bikes that I've built, and got nearly 20,000 miles. The first one was my FXR. I got like 20,000 miles out of those tires. Still had tread left, Of course, I'm not doing burnouts or acting a fucking fool on it. I'm just riding across country. But to me, it's like you maintain the tire pressure. And, what happened was I had 20,000 miles on it, and I had rode to Daytona, and I had a low tire for like a good 100 or 200 miles of that, and it tore up my tread. Right. So when I got back home, I was like, fuck, this tire's junk. It's like still had like, an 1/8 of an inch of tread left, if not more. But it was just the tread got tore up because I ran it on a low pressure for too long. So,
one of the best secret ways to get the most miles out of your tires, put nitrogen on them.
Nitrogen? Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
Put nitrogen. Keep nitrogen in your tires. Do not put the ball wheel rates inside your tires.
Yeah.
Just use regular stick, make sure, some guys don't know how to fucking balance the tire. It's kind of amazing in this industry, and it really baffles my mind how some shops even fucking keep in business, God bless them for wanting to get into the industry and, start making their livelihood. But sometimes you maybe should have stayed at the fucking dealership, for at least 5 more fucking years before you went out on your own.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys look at everything in Instagram and see this and, they're backyard fucking mechanics, and there's a lot of good backyard mechanics. Don't get me wrong. But there's some guys that fucking are backyard mechanics that don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
And I see it all the time. We get, and I'm sure everybody else does. But, the whole meaning is, make sure everything's fucking done right. Make sure your air pressure is correct to get all the mileage. I mean, fuck, I rode 2 Sturges back, I don't know how many fucking club runs, and I got 17,000 miles out of my Commander 2s on my bagger, and those were hard fucking miles. When I rode so hard coming back from Sturgis on the 75th anniversary, I spun the crank 60,000.
Damn, that's a lot.
Oh yeah, you know what the amazing thing was? That fucking 103 was still running.
It's crazy because I am I've had plenty of twin cams, and I do agree that those motors are pretty solid. Hopeful for just for people coming into the industry that do want to buy a newer bike and do the M8s, and people are getting some stupid number power out of these bikes. You know what I mean? But the realistic question for me is like, and I know a lot of our listeners too, they want to ride, they want to put miles down. So a lot of people don't want to go so deep into their motor that the reliability or just the, functionality of it is thrown out the window. So,
I tell everybody with the M8s, I've done probably about a dozen of them so far. Mm-hmm. And I realistically tell everybody, I said, look, do you want to go fast or you want to fuck around?
Yeah.
And everybody says, oh, well, I don't want to. I get 90% of what the people now that have the new M8s go, I want a good, reliable bike. I said, you know what? Then all we're going to do, we're going to put an intake on it. We're going to put a fucking exhaust on it. And we're going to put a tuner in it. Mm-hmm. Leave it the fuck alone. Until Harley can develop and figure out what the fuck's going on, don't do anything because it's just going to cost you a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
I don't remember the one company that I saw that said they had a 155 kit for it.
That's that leading edge.
So as much as I know about building big horsepower motors and big CC motors, cubic inch motors, number one, you can't get a fucking cam big enough to fucking fill that cylinder to really get all the horsepower out of that motor. It just fucking can't happen.
Yeah.
For building motors, I mean, Kendall Johnson and them, they make fucking, they're one of the guys I think in this industry are fucking absolute phenomenal fucking motor builders. Mm-hmm. And I've learned a lot about building racing motors with the 131. Now we have a production 131 now that's fucking bulletproof, but it took a lot of experiments and, triumphs and failures to figure this fucking out.
Yeah.
But with that M8 motor, you're going with that big, it's a fucking 4 1/4 bore. Mm-hmm. At the baser. So yeah, you could do a lot, but I really see a lot of failure happening with that motor until they can figure it out. I think, looking at the cases are too thin. They need to beef up, Harley needs to beef up them fucking cases. I think just the whole design of the way that the oil system is incorrect. I think it needs a stronger and powerful pump and plate.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the S&S products. I like the TC3, even though we did a review on them, and we didn't give them a very good review due to the fact that we had failures.
Yeah,
and we were all about fueling.
Was it S&S?
Fueling makes a fucking great product.
Which one was it? Was it S&S or Fueling that came out with a new pump for these bikes that was supposed to be really nice? I don't know. Those aren't the right terms, but basically that's what I got for you.
I believe the S&S TC3. Mm-hmm. That fucking pump and plate, dude. Their shit is fucking bulletproof. I mean, I like the fact of using S&S products due to the fact that they work, they last. The company will stand behind their products. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that Fueling won't stand behind their products, but they do.
Yeah,
as well. Just the adjustability on that cam plate of where we want to put our oil pressure, because we know where our RPMs are going to be, mm-hmm. and we want solid oil pressure. That's fucking awesome.
And that's with the S&S pump, right?
Yeah, that's what the S&S mm-hmm. plate. The plate allows you to adjust the oil pressure.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's important, you know. I mean, Harleys, you know, are an air-cooled motor, as everybody knows, but you have two factors to control the heat, and that's one is oil, two is air. That's it. You know, well, I mean, actually, fuel mixture ratio as well. But on, you know, versus a car, you have three elements. You know, you have air, you have oil, and you have radiator fluid. So what it really comes down to is, you know, the Harley motor is really temperamental. So it's all about trying to keep that motor as fucking cool as possible.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of guys don't look into the aspects of, you know, spark plugs. Spark plugs are a big fucking thing on Harleys. Picking the right heat range, you know, jetting them correctly, getting them tuned correctly. That's another huge factor. You know, I see more bikes come in that are super lean. You know, if we would go down a route of tuners, I really like myself. I like the Thundermax. I think the Thundermax is a fucking bitchin' product, and I also like the TTS. I am not a fan of the Power Vision whatsoever. A lot of guys will be like, oh, fuck that. That shit's fucking cool. Hey, you know what? Tomatoes, man. Things work good for you. They just haven't worked good for us.
And that's one thing I've kind of noticed about a lot of different people we talk to is that some people have, or a lot of different shops of different mechanics and tuners and builders, like they have their products that they're really comfortable with and that works for them, right? You know, and others, you know, they're more keen to certain other combinations of getting it to go. But it's kind of, I don't know. I mean, like, I guess from your angle, you're really you're trying true in these parts to make sure, or these products to make sure that they perform and work to your best, you know, user ability, I guess is the word. And
well, I mean, pretty much when we get them, I mean, we're lucky enough where companies will send us their products for us to test them out. And we put them through the fucking ringer, man. I mean, we ride them hard.
Yeah.
And in the end of the day, we'll give them a report and we'll send the fucking product to them, or we just call them up and be like, dude, this shit really didn't work, and this is what the fucking problem is. And, you know, I don't know what to fucking tell you, but I wouldn't use this shit if it was the fucking last donkey dick in the fucking world.
Yeah. That's cool.
But you know, like the tomatoes, you know, everything works different for everybody else. You know, I'm not bashing on anybody's products. And like I said, some stuff works good for some people it doesn't. You know, we have the products that we believe under our circumstances of testing that, you know, get fucking 5 stars that we won't use any other product but theirs. Now, we even get customers that come in and they specifically want these other products. And I'll say, okay, or you say, oh, you sure? Because let me show you what happens. And we have a board. We have literally a portion in our shop where we've got every fucking product tested where customers can put their fucking hands on it and they can see.
Yeah.
You know, seeing is believing is what I feel, you know.
Oh, so you basically have like the end results of using certain products, whether it's worked out well or worked out shitty, so that they can see kind of like piston, you know, surfaces and things like, yeah, that's cool. Pistons,
heads, valves. Fuck, I mean, we've got everything from fucking lifters, push rods to fucking wheel bearings.
Nice. So, I mean, what do you think is like probably one of the big proponents to really help moving forward, you know, this 2019 year with like this style of motorcycling? You know, like what's your plans, and what do you think that like other people outside that are pushing these type of bikes could probably do to help push this scene?
I think I've always been a big pusher of the fact of everybody needs to band together. We all as bikers need to stick together through fucking thick or thin. Everybody stop talking shit about fucking this person or that person. You know, unless you've been fucking, you know, taken advantage of, then fuck, I'm all for it. You know? Yeah. Get on your fucking soapbox and fucking scream on that corner, buddy, with your megaphone.
Yeah.
But as for, you know, the guys that are trying to make a difference and trying to push the industry, you know, fuck, we all need to band together because, you know, united together, we can fucking divide and conquer this fucking industry and make it better for everybody. You know, sooner or later, the outside sources, whether it be Indian or Harley Davidson, is going to see it and be like, fuck, you know, that's the general direction we should go because that's what the people want. You know, I simply just say fucking always give them what they fucking want. Don't try to control us. Don't tell us what the fuck we need to eat or where we need to sleep or what we need to ride or how fast we need to fucking go or what drug we can use or what drug we can't use or, you know, fuck, this is America. Land of the free, home of the brave, choice to do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
You know, that's what our forefathers set for us. You know, they've given us the opportunity to fuck everything up or not fuck it up.
Yeah.
I just want to fuck everything up with a little bit of moderation control. and that being
that's
making
testing
sure
and
I don't
tuning.
fucking die.
You want to test and tune the waters. That's what you want to do.
Well, I simply say to every single manufacturer when I get their products, I said, look, if there was a chance I could ride down the street at 300 miles an hour with my hair on fire, I'd be the first motherfucker in line.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you know, I'm pretty optimistic about the direction that everything's going with, you know, more performance-based motorcycles. And you have a lot of pages, especially on Instagram, that are kind of promoting that to the best of their ability by reposting what, you know, guys like you or myself or other people in the industry or individuals are doing. And I think that's all like spreading a lot more of a visual representation of what these bikes are doing. But I think the other thing is like being at Sturgis, being at events and doing these things is like maybe putting on, you know, just events or rides or whatever to kind of like, you know, because we're talking about a performance motorcycle. It's hard to see performance sitting still or on a picture, you know, and not all of us have the money to have a camera crew around to show them how hard we rip around corners. You know what I mean? So it's like,
you know, and that's not for everybody. You know, a lot of people like that are 15, 60 years old. They go, you know, I'm not fucking going out there racing and I'm not getting it like you guys are, but I am interested in, you know, having my bike fucking handle better. And I think that it's important that these shows, you know, start doing more, you know. For the first time this year, something big's going to happen, as we discussed, and, you know, it'll come out soon that Sturgis is going to, you know, get involved in the performance bagger, which I think is fucking awesome. And I'm excited and proud to be a fucking part of it to make this start happening.
Yeah.
I think, you know, like the Lost Highway event was a fucking great idea. You know, I think, you know, even though you see like Roland Sands and what he's doing, believe it or not, like you know, Roland's a pioneer. He's done a lot in this industry. Yeah. And I think the same thing. You know, I think, you know, I've talked to Roland and you know, you know, they've helped us out a lot and sent us products to use and everything. And he's all for it too. But, you know, I understand, you know, companies can't invest, you know, millions of dollars to try to make this push fucking happen when we're still just literally touching the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's so much more that can happen if these other events start getting more involved with the performance bagger. You know, and I know that's what, you know, Jeff and Jordan were trying to do. I just think, you know, the corporate end of it just hasn't really, you know, they know what's going on. They understand it, they see it, but I just don't think they know how to grasp it and how to market it yet. You know, as corporate person I am on things, you know, if I knew that what I was going to do would help divide this industry and going the right direction away from the sons of fucking anarchy bullshit and going into, you know, getting out and just go fucking ride your motorcycle and enjoy it. And, you know, feel free, enjoy the fucking, get the wind in your face.
Yeah, well, that's
I would
honestly,
be all for it. I'd be on that first fucking corporate commercial.
Honestly, that's kind of what we did on, you know, in our part to try to push this new, you know, climate with motorcycles is we did a camp out last year and we're actually doing another one this year. And basically the premise of this whole camp out or this whole like deal is literally just to come out and then the Saturday that we're there, we all go rip and run up and down these hills. You know what I mean? Like that's the show. That's it. It's let's go ride these bikes super hard, push our limits, have a good time, and then come back and drink beer around a campfire and talk shit about each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what's fucking great. You know, I talked to Jordan and I was talking to Jeff several years ago, and we've been trying to put this race together, and we wanted to do a invitational race and call it the fucking like the Cannonball Run. Yeah. And basically, it's a Cannonball Run to Sturgis. It'll happen the week, a couple days before Sturgis breaks off. And it starts in the middle of fucking nowhere. You know, there'll be 5 teams of 3 riders. And you just get a map and you get an invitation and you fucking are expected to show up there at a certain time. And when you get there, fucking one person will come in and they'll hand you the fucking racing map. And day one, literally, you'll be out starting out. We want to do it on a fucking dirt road in the middle of nowhere, and have some half-naked bitch go out there with the fucking flag. As soon as the flag went up, everybody took off. Nice. And we want to do it in different legs. So the first leg, whoever got there fucking first, it's no holds bars, man. You fucking got to get there. And the first team to fucking get there wins the day. The person who gets there the last has to buy drinks for fucking everybody all night. Nice. So races will start at Sturgis or Daytona, and then 75 years later, here we are just going there to drink and hopefully see some old lady tits. You know what I mean? But yeah, now I feel like we have a chance to kind of like either go back to some of the basics of the grassroots of things, or be innovative in what we're doing now. Like maybe it won't be as big as Sturgis, so there's not as much corporate visual like them wanting to get on board, but I think the smaller events, the more intimate things where it's like showing real riding and real motorcycling is kind of a more exciting thing to promote and push and do. You know what I mean? And that's why I think like the Gentleman's Ride, I think the Born Free show, it gets everybody to get excited and ride their motorcycles there. Yeah. And no matter how the fucking far the distance is, my favorite run every year is going to Sturgis. Yeah, me too. Hey, don't get me wrong. I can't fucking stand the ride from when you get to from leaving Idaho until you get into Wyoming. That ride just fucking sucks. Well, I got a ride that I'm actually going to be coming through Reno in June. We're going to be coming to Born Free, but we're going to go up north first. And I'm not looking forward to Wendover to Reno. That's what I'm not looking forward to. Well, dude, when you guys come through, make sure you fucking stop by. Yeah, we will, for sure. We'll go up and ride, and I'll take you up the canyon. We'll have a couple fucking drinks, and we'll go have some fun. I might even go to the Born Free show this year. Yeah, we have a big group, or not. It's 6 of us, and we're gonna be kind of sightseeing through Colorado, Utah, then coming into Reno, and then going into NorCal. Like I said before, I have a lot of friends and a lot of customers in that area, and then we're just gonna ride the coast down to Born Free. Born Free is it's not really the reason we're going, but it's just something to do on the trip. You know what I mean? So right. But yeah, it'll be fun, man. Yeah. We're looking forward to it. So. Yeah, I said I was going to go there last year, but when I got committed in opening up the shop and finding out how much time when you have a shop you don't get to fucking ride. Yeah, I mean that's what happened to me last year, man. Like the 2017, I literally was able to ride to almost every major event in the United States other than Laconia, and then I had big plans for 2018, but life said no. And I just, I had to kind of, take a back seat to it. And so this year we're hoping that things are going to be open enough for us to be able to do those kind of trips, multiple ones. And I'm hoping the same. I'm looking at the whole factors of, I need to get out more. I realistically need to get out and, show the performance bikes more and showing everything what I do. And, I hear from the people all the time. They're like, oh, dude, we hear about you all the time, but you never go to the fucking shows. They go, man, have you ever owned a fucking your own business before? Mm-hmm. Everything went out the fucking window. Hunting and fishing is a passion of mine, plus riding. Yeah. So now, and this is and I'm guilty. I should be fucking tarred and feathered for this, is that my shop is at the base of fucking one of the best fucking riding areas that leads up to Virginia City. I'm right at the base of Geiger Grade. Mm-hmm. So we ride that course fucking religiously every other day in the summertime and spring. Mm-hmm. And this year I probably rode maybe only 5 or 6 times because being a business owner, you know, fuck, I've got stuff to do. And, you know, I got wife, I got kids, I got, you know, dogs,
Yeah.
I got, you know, family. And, you know, fuck, anytime I can get, I just jump on the fucking boat and go 100 miles south into Mexico and just fish.
Yeah.
Forget about everything.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Like you know, especially when like you're working in one of your hobbies, man, it becomes a very delicate like world to live in, because when you do, like say you work on bikes and that's also something you enjoy to do on your free time, it's like there's drama, there's anxiety, there's, you know, just the opinions and dealing with business. It kind of drains.
And the last thing you want to do is work on your fucking bike after you're done riding it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I get it, man. We're all in the same. We're all the same thing. But you know, the one thing that keeps us going is the fact that we have passion for the fucking industry. Mm-hmm. We love this industry so much that no matter what happens, and I learned this a long time ago. I tried to get out of the motorcycle industry. I went completely fucking opposite. Just wanted nothing to fucking do with it after dealing with the motorcycle, the dirt bike world of it. Mm-hmm. And it lasted, I kid you not, it lasted 2 months. Mm-hmm. I went back to being a carpenter and doing construction, and my phone fucking rang off the hook. And I remember I was on a job site one day and I was swinging my hammer and I went, fuck this. I don't want to do this shit anymore.
Yeah.
That's when I decided that I was going fucking full balls, and I just wasn't gonna stop this time.
You know, I really doubted myself too at times, and I realized that, like, you know, I had a really rough and struggling 2018, and 2017 was a much more pleasant experience. It was also like I had a major, you know, 1,000+ mile trip planned, you know, 5 times of the year. You know what I mean? And then last year I only did 1. You know what I mean? So it's like I realized that I need, you know, it's like I don't really get a kick out of like ripping around town very much. You know what I mean? Like all the guys are, hey, we're going to go ride 40 miles to this bar and then 40 miles to that bar. Like, I'm not interested. I'm going to Uber to the one down the street and get fucked up. You know what I mean? That's what I'm going to do. But you know, there is the aspect that I do really enjoy the planning, the execution, the lead up to going on a big trip or just a longer, you know, multiple day trip. It really kind of like inspires and gets me fucking going. You know what I mean? So, you know, when I really can't stand doing what I do at some points, like working on bikes or painting bikes or whatever, that bike trip really does balance me back out. You know what I mean? To where it's like, okay, this is why I love this shit. You know what I mean? But it's like, it's hard to love it when you do the little shit. Like if you like, trust me, I ride the bike nights and I do shit like that all the time and have a good time. But it's like, it's a tease, if anything. You know what I mean?
You know, I rode back to Missouri one time, and I rode back there all by myself. Mm-hmm. And I was at that crossroads of not fucking loving the industry anymore and fucking hating it. And I rode back all the way back there on my FXD 1974 shovelhead.
Damn.
I had fucking a bag on my sissy bar. I had a fucking bedroll on my fucking ape hangers and a fucking bar of soap. And I just fucking went, man.
Yeah.
And I had more fun experience fucking pulling over in a rest stop or off the fucking highway, the beaten path, and putting the fucking bedroll and falling asleep. Mm-hmm. I had more fucking fun and kind of recharging my batteries doing that than I have in a long fucking time. You know, I went to Sturgis this year and we rode the Beartooth Mountain Pass, and I've ridden that numerous times, and that's one of my favorite fucking areas to ride. And there's another back section in Yellowstone that I like to ride. It's a fucking switchback, and you can overlook the Continental Divide. Mm-hmm. And I remember just going, you know, back there this year, and I kind of was all pumped about it and really excited about riding it and that. And halfway through it, we saw somebody go down, and they had to be helicoptered out. And this is what's really it really fucked me up because, you know, I wasn't there the day of. I should have been there when my friend Rick got killed.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, the fact of the horrific accident, him doing 120 miles an hour plus, and the Ford Raptor was coming the other way at 65 miles an hour, and it was a head-on collision.
Mm.
And he hit so hard that the bike fucking disintegrated into pieces.
That's wild.
And killed him instantly and threw him fucking 60 yards. Ripped off his leg, fucking smashed his face into the back of his skull. And it was fucking horrific.
Yeah.
And I went there the next day, and literally, this is no bullshit, I was picking up pieces of his fucking leg out of the road.
And where'd that happen at?
That happened on the backside of Geiger Grade on 6 Mile Canyon. So, you know, after seeing what happened to my best friend and everything that just surrounded that whole accident, you know, when we were riding up the Beartooth Mountain Pass and I see that fucking happen, you know, it automatically replayed into my head.
Yeah.
And so I became really fucking bummed out, and, you know, what should have been a real pleasant ride turned into a ride that I just, like, did not even give a fuck to be on.
Yeah.
And it bums me out because that's what, you know, I shouldn't be thinking about things like this. You know, I should be fucking feeling free and wanting to ride, but, you know, it's the older I get, the less and less I'm really fucking starting to enjoy this, let alone, you know, there's a certain crew that you're comfortable riding with.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the people that you're riding with are a bunch of good fucking people. It's not the case up here. You know, there's a lot of really shitty fucking people, a lot of wannabes, you know, a lot of people that just want to take advantage because you have a shop.
Oh, yeah.
Or you do what you do. You know,
it's
bro,
always hard.
Fucking hook me up, you know.
Yeah, it's always hard to navigate those waters when, like I said, we do something where it's a hobby for people, but it's our livelihood. You know what I mean? So they have a tendency to, you know, even if it's like not intentional, they get close and we become friends because we have a common interest in hobby, right? Motorcycles.
Right.
And it gets
and,
tough,
you know,
man.
Being a business owner, if you're a manufacturer of a product too as well, you know, I look at that person and say, hey, dude, I have no problem swapping out because we're in the same trade. You're going to have something I need. I'm sure I have something you need.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that always works out. But in the same sense, I don't fucking mind paying for it as well.
Yeah, it's just easier, but
because I know that you've got an outfit to, you've got fucking bills to pay. So have I. But a lot of these guys don't get that. You know, they think that if you own a shop, you're a fucking millionaire.
I've had people, you know, like become close friends, and then like, you know, like me just not being very smart, like realize that they're really trying to jumpstart their career off my career. You know what I mean? Like I've seen it happen a lot of times where I've like gotten close with somebody, introduced them to a lot of people, brought them into my inner circle in one form or fashion, and just kind of seen, you know, multiple times over the last, you know, 15 years I've been in this industry, seeing that kind of shit happen. It's just like, it sucks. You know what I mean? It sucks getting used. You know what I mean? And then of course, you know,
exactly it.
Yeah, it sucks, man. But like, it sucks. I know I said that too many times, but it really does suck because, you know, you feel like you have friends, you have, you know, other shops that you're close with, and you just, it's blurred lines of like knowing who's really the real people in your life and who is just here because you offer a fun time, or, you know, you're the hot shit right now, or you might be able to get them something for free or get them into the, you know, the best events. You know what I mean? It does kind of get like a shitty spot sometimes.
It's fucked up. And, you know, the funny thing is, I said the other day to a buddy of mine, he's like, oh, dude, all your friends and this and that. I go, friends? I'm like, the fuck you talking about, bro? I don't have any fucking friends.
Yeah. I'm fortunate right now. The reason why I don't have friends, you know, in the business aspect, the reason I don't have friends is because they're always looking to fucking get up over on you. Yeah. No matter what it fucking comes to it, most of them are. I've met very, very few people who are interested or, you know, of helping you or who are on the same level of you. Yeah.
But, you know, you'll see, as they say, you know, wolves in sheep's clothing. somebody says, "Oh yeah, dude," and you hang out with them for a couple of years, and you just come to find out that one day they just become a fucking snake or a scumbag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's real weird because, like I said, I'm, you know, I've dealt with a lot of ups and downs with friends and come and go in my life and in my career. But, you know, at this point in my life, I'm fucking beyond fortunate. I have, you know, I don't know if it's because we do this podcast or the things that we try to do on the outside, or if people just, you know, genuinely like me. But I'm pretty fucking blessed with a lot of homies right now that, you know, between, you know, just like I said, all over the country, which I think that we've earned or we got just because we do ride a lot. We go across country as much as we can. And I do my best to try to be, you know, inviting. You know, sometimes I'm a dick, you know, but aren't we all? You know what I mean? But
oh no, absolutely. You know, some of the fucking coolest people I've met, like I said, when I've been out on the road by myself or with one other person, and we've rather broke down. Fuck, I remember this one time we broke down, and we were fucking in front of a Napa Auto Parts, and my starter on my bike backed out, and I was so fucking pissed off. And you know, at the time I was a prospect, and I was like, oh fuck, dude, I'm gonna have to fucking hear this. And the fucking cool dude, we pulled up there, and fucking one guy was a biker in his truck and came over, and he's like, oh dude, I got those bolts in my house, fuck, I'll be back in 20 minutes. Came over, fucking helped us fucking put it back on. I thought, dude, this is the fucking coolest guy invited us over to fucking spend the night at his place and barbecue, and you know, and I'm all, dude, that's fucking awesome, and I like to pass that shit on.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
recently we built a trike for a wounded warrior that only had he was a triple amputee.
Damn.
And that was fucking cool, you know. A lot of people that helped out to make you know, it's all about just passing it forward, you know. That's what it's fucking all about. I mean, we get guys that come through and, you know, their bikes break down, and, you know, fuck, I'll go out there and help them fix it because I know they're on a ride.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll say, fuck, you know what I owe you for your time, dude, just get the fuck out of here, go ride.
Yeah. Yeah, it's there. You know, like I've always said, there's certain areas, like, you know, for me, you know, like what I offer mainly out of my shop is the custom paint, and there's nothing quick about it. You know what I mean? Like, for me to do something for free is me saying, okay, dude, I'm going to come and give you a week's worth of my time for free. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of people have do what?
If I'm going to do it, give me a fucking good reason why I should do it.
Yeah. And so, like, you know, I've always told people, it's like, man, if I sold parts for a living and I had a bunch of friends, like, I wouldn't, you know, I understand, like, cutting them a deal here and there, some percentages off and stuff, but, you know, that doesn't take up my time to you know, order something, as opposed to, hey, dude, paint my helmet. Okay, that's 4 days. You know what I mean? Plus hundreds of dollars of materials that I would have to do on my time, just because, you know what I mean? So there's a couple things about being a painter that's a little bit more complicated to pay it forward with, you know, friends and charities. I mean, trust me, I get hit up a lot to, you know, paint bikes that people are building for charities, and paint skateboards and helmets for charities. And it's like, fuck, man, I want to do it all. I want to be the Mr. Help everybody out, but it's like,
at the end of the day, it doesn't pay your bills, man.
It doesn't, man, and it gets tough especially when, you know, you're already backed up as it is, trying to stay afloat or stay above water with your current workload and stuff, and then, you know, like, sometimes. And
don't get me wrong, if I was a fucking millionaire,
yeah,
chances are I'd do most of the shit for fucking free because I love it.
Yeah, if I was a millionaire, I'd have,
you know, in the same boat, you know. I mean, things that I looked at of helping friends out, and I don't mind helping anybody out. I'm fucking more than willing to help anybody out if, you know, they really need it, or if, you know, somebody helps me out. But in the same sense, I want to make sure that, you know, if I'm going to help somebody out, they're going to help me out. You know, I want to make sure that they're getting, you know, the most amount of publicity I can help them in this industry. You know, I'm like, you know, I would say I'm very blessed that a lot of companies, you know, in the industry send me their products, and I know for a fact that we help sell a lot of their products because we back them.
Yeah.
You know, I've found this, rather guys fucking hate me because of the Outlaw Bagger show, or guys fucking love me because of it. They, in all turn, they always buy the products that we run.
Yeah. Well, you know, you know what's that saying? It's like all publicity or bad publicity is good publicity or whatever the hell.
I don't know, man. If you were fucking arrested for some pretty like devious shit, some bad publicity might not be too fucking good for you.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, like, I don't know, man. I it's one of those things. Like, that's why, like, for us, like with our podcast and just me in general, I try to only like put myself on social media in a very jokingly way, so that, you know how they say, like, you know, 50% of the time when someone says they're joking, they're telling the truth. You ever heard that saying?
No, I haven't.
So the saying is like 50% of the time when someone says, "Oh man, I'm just joking," like it was, no, they were being truthful, but the joking part is kind of like the LOL at the end of a sentence. You know what I mean? It's kind of, I don't know how serious I was.
I'm the type of guy that, you know, I was raised fucking old school.
Yeah.
You know, when you say something, you mean it. When you're joking about it, you joke about it.
For sure.
And usually I'm laughing at the same time I'm saying it because I'm fucking laughing because it's a fucking joke. But, you know, getting up to the point of like being serious, it's just, you know, your approach. Do I want to be an asshole being serious, or do I want to be friend serious?
Yeah,
you know,
it's also,
I think the whole factors of, like, you know, that what you said, the joking but serious is the whole factors of just not being fucking honest. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know, like, I guess for myself is what I was like kind of saying is like, I like to try to not, I like to try to be to where like I'm not being taken so seriously on social media that like I have to, you know, spend time defending myself. You know what I mean? Like I am serious about
I totally get that shit.
I'm serious about like, you know, hey, I used to get a lot of shit because I used to like clown on people that had trailers and trailered their bikes everywhere. That was something that I was serious about. Like, that's how I really feel. But I had to, you know, like, next thing you know, it's like everybody that has trailers, all of a sudden now there's a whole clique of trailer guys that want to like jump on me because they're like, hey dude, well I still ride bikes. I put 2,000 miles on my bike last year, but you know, I like the trailer still. You know, it's like you get all that shit. I'm like, hey dude, it's a joke, you know? So most of the shit that I say is jokingly, and it does have some seriousness to it, but it's still a fucking joke. You know what I mean? It's still funny to me, at least, you know?
Well, while I got you on the phone here, I'm going to have a fucking shot real fast. We can't christen the night without having a fucking shot while we're talking.
Oh, for sure. I've been telling all my listeners I was going to stop drinking on these things, but I've already killed two 14-ounce beers, so or 16 ounces.
Can't do the beer, man. I got to have fucking liquor.
Yeah.
You know, that whole portion of liquor gets you fucked up quicker.
Yeah. I like to slow roll it.
Oh, you know, so I was going to tell you, so the trailering and everything. So I rode 1,400 miles in one day one time.
Mm-hmm.
I left at 2 o'clock in the morning and didn't get back here at my house till, it was 10 o'clock at night. And the last 200 miles of it were fucking all snow and sleet. And I remember pulling over at a fucking Arco gas station. Oh, I think it was a 76 gas station. And this guy had his bike on the fucking trailer. And I jumped off the bike, and man, I'm fucking layered up. I got my frog togs on. I was so fucking soaked. I mean, fuck, man, I wear tennis shoes when I ride. I don't even ride boots. So
yeah.
My fucking feet are soaked, and I'm just like, motherfucker. And I looked at the guy, and I remember looking at him going, dude, I tapped the fuck out, man. Can I please put my bike on your fucking trailer?
Yeah. No.
And I'm thinking this in my head as I'm looking at him. And I'm like, fuck, soak it up, you pussy. Just soak it up, get on that fucking bike.
Yeah, there's
But I get it, you know. I get how some people fucking are and everything, and I totally understand where you're coming from on people being sensitive to everything. But you know, I just,
dude, I put like this.
Again, I think
I posted a picture yesterday. I posted a picture of a fueling cam plate, and I literally had people saying, "Why didn't you go SNS on there?" Like, I had to explain myself to Instagram followers as to why I use a certain product. Like, come on, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's on a team, right? And if you're not using what they thought or what they saw in the chat room is the best thing, then they want you to kind of like, everybody wants to debate is what it feels like. You know what I mean?
Oh, fuck, man, I get it. I get it. Yeah, a lot of the shit you say it fucking reminds me of, the first portion of getting into the industry and hearing shit like this. And, you have to like explain your actions. And I get it. A lot of people, look for leadership of, what's the right thing to do, what's the wrong thing to fucking do. And all I can do is give you my opinion. You need to make the assessment on your own of what you want to do, what direction.
Yeah.
I can, it's like the whole factors of, leading a horse to water, but not make him fucking drink. I don't know how many times I've, told people, fuck, dude, buy ceramic bearings, buy ceramic bearings, buy ceramic bearings.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing I get a fucking call, a month later, and the guy's like, oh, well, I went and bought fucking the China shit from fucking Drag, and now my fucking front wheel's all fucked up. I'm like, dude, if you just would have spent the money and bought ceramic bearings, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Yeah.
But, hey, you had to learn. You had to live and learn.
Well, I think that, like, when you're a professional at something, whether it's a painter or, a builder or, a motor builder for that matter, it's like, if you come to somebody because their reputation is good, like, that's the explanation right there. Hey, my work, I am proven. I have no bad reps as far as the work that I've done. Nobody's mad at me. It's like, why do I have to sit here and continue to sell or comfort you into spending money? Like, dude, I work with my hands for a living. I don't have time to spend on the phone for fucking 4 weeks to try to convince you to do this because you keep going to a chat room and getting information from people that don't do this for a living. You know what I mean? That bothers me a lot.
I'll tell you, I have mad fucking respect for what you do.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried painting, and all I got to say is fuck that. The fact that you have the patience and the talent to do what you guys do. I mean, I've been looking at your shit for a while. It's fucking amazing stuff.
Oh, thank you.
I ain't got the patience for that shit. I got fucking ADD and ADHD really fucking bad. So I'd make it like one pinstripe fucking halfway down and be like, oh fuck, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I guess I'm dyslexic a little bit is what they told me in high school, but it's like I never really believed the shit, but every once in a while, like I'll like plot out some words to go on a bike and I'll paint it on there and I'll misspell it. And I'm like, fuck, you know what I mean? And it'd be like something like, I don't know, just some shit some dyslexic motherfuckers would do. You know what I mean? And it's always embarrassing because my brother's not, and he's always catching that shit. And then it becomes a joke of like our circle of friends for at least 2 or 3 months. I remember once I put life sentence on the tank. It's like some gay thing this guy wanted. It's supposed to say life sentence, but I spelled it sentence. Like I put an A in there or something it wasn't supposed to be, and I just never heard the end of that shit, man. It was there.
Oh, fuck, who gives a shit? Let me tell you what, dude. My old lady is a fucking spelling bee champion and shit.
Yeah.
So, spelling's not my fucking thing. I'm more of the fucking hands-on fucking guy. That's what I sit there and I calculate and figure things out in my head.
Yeah.
And then I run them over while I'm sleeping. I literally go to sleep. I'll sit at night and I'll draw something out and I'll think about it and look parts up and look up schematics and think about it, go to sleep, think about it, wake up, go to the shop, think about it, and then fucking design and start building it.
Yeah. That's the way to do it, man.
But if it came to spelling or paint, dude, fuck.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you what, I can rattle cat and skateboard like a motherfucker.
Well, every once in a while, like a customer will have an idea, a color scheme, or even a way of doing the bike, and even for me, like I have I think the only thing that I really have a gift in is I can see something done in my head. You know what I mean? Colors, layout, design, parts, whatever the case may be. But every once in a while, like I'm challenged with a customer that wants something and I'm just not seeing it, but they do. And, there's a lot of fighting going on between me and him because I don't see it, but I'm trying to, you know what I mean? But then I'll give in and do what they want. And I'm like, okay, I was wrong. So I do admit that I'm wrong sometimes when it comes to design. So,
just like, building bikes, I have an vision of how things should go. Like, I'm building right now a 1997 Buell S1. And we're modifying the frame. We're putting a 2018 GSXR 1000 rear subframe on it. Redoing the seat, doing the suspension, fucking everything. One-sided swing arm. So I told you, my envision of exactly how I was going to build this for the customer is completely opposite.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck, the way that you actually, my thought exactly this, like paint jobs. I have a lot of respect for paint jobs, but as I said, to me, paint jobs don't fucking win races. I would fucking barrel down the goddamn highway in a rusted out motherfucking 1952 fucking Chuck Berry wagon. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Well, they don't, and that's the thing about, like, that's the weird thing that I guess the oxymoron for a guy like me who's trying to push, the custom paint into a scene of motorcycling where it's all about, everything that you do to this bike makes it perform better. You know what I mean? And I have a close friend, Mark, has a shop, Texas Performance. It's the same way. And as we've become friends over the years, he's been more attentive towards the visualization of how the bike looks when it's done because of me rubbing off on him. But I've also vice versa started to look at the suspensions of bikes and things like that, and to push myself as a rider by riding with him. So it's like it rubs off both ways. You know what I mean? So
right. No, and I get nowadays I get a lot more, getting into, and I have to get my own mindset thought into this of, building a performance bagger isn't all about mechanical. You have to add the ambiance of the fucking whole picture of a paint job, because that's what it's about. People still want their fucking bikes to look sexy, but as mean as a motherfucking alligator.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that they can achieve with this style of motorcycles. You can achieve a bike that has that fucking grunt style, just ready to fucking rip your fucking arms off or whatever, but still be able to come up to a bike night or a parking lot or whatever, and appeal to people that have no clue what those forks are or that exhaust is or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it just still has a curb appeal that is like very strong looking. So yeah, there's certain paint jobs that I don't think would really coincide very well with this style of motorcycles. Like, I'm still on the fence of whether or not, like, panel styles, like, I'm not sure it really goes well with baggers because there's so much surface. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there are race style paint jobs that are more graphic and less busy that kind of probably do the job better, in my opinion. But I'm still trying to figure that out myself, to be honest with you.
And I think the whole factor is I kind of got out of the I was at one point I was all about the paint job, and I sent it over to a local guy who was really good, and I ended up paying $1,000 for just a fucking primer job.
Damn.
And I fucking lost my shit in that. At that point, I pretty much was like, fuck you, fuck your company, which in turn, it put him out of business.
Damn.
And that's, and I wasn't the only person that he burned. He burned a whole bunch of people. But, if I get a primer job and I come back and one of my bags is cracked and, nothing's fucking fixed correctly, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this shit? I could have done better with my kid's goddamn Crayola crayon fucking marker set and a fucking a can of Crayon.
Yeah. It's one of those weird things, man. It is like that, though. You know what I mean? You have there's levels to all this. It's the same thing. There's a lot of painters out there that aren't really quite on the level of the quality of work or the quality of like, that's the one thing that I try to explain to a lot of people is that being good at customer service is awesome, but all that time you got to spend to be that really great customer service guy, I can actually be doing the work you're paying me to do. You know what I mean? So leave me alone and let me get to work. Let me do my job. I have a reputation.
There's guys like us who take a lot of pride in what we fucking do.
Yeah.
Because we take, me personally, if somebody wasn't happy, it would fucking be personal to me.
Yeah,
I would take
agree.
it personally because I put fucking my blood, sweat, and tears into the motherfucker because I have so much pride in what I do.
I agree.
You know, that's where all these guys bagging on all these other companies. Like, I know a couple builders that they build just regular performance bikes for customers, and one guy went on and fucking talked shit about him, this and that. And I was like, dude, you were such a piece of shit because you didn't want to spend the money. And I was there when he was building this bike. I was like, dude, my buddy told you needed to spend the money to get this so that your bike was going to fucking run great, but you didn't want to fucking do it. You wanted to use parts, and the fucking bike blew up.
Yeah.
And now it's my buddy's fault because he told you to fucking replace them, and you wouldn't fucking do it. But now you're going to talk shit about him because you were the fucking dildo that didn't do what a professional told you to fucking do.
Yeah. I hear that shit all the time, man.
And that's what I get now. Like, I get anybody that comes in and we catch something, and if the customer doesn't want to do it, I pull the bike off the rack and say, you need to take it somewhere else.
Yeah. That's the only way to really ensure that you're, the quality of work that you're putting out is you can stand behind it,
And that's it. I mean, unfortunately, I've had one incident even where we had a motor grenade because the fucking manufacturer's part, failed.
Yeah.
And you're the fucking bad guy on it because you built it, you recommended it, and you just happened to fucking one day get a fluke part that took a shit.
Yeah, I've seen that happen too before, like with high quality stuff. S&S makes good product quality stuff, but I've had friends that would do their kits and have them have their cranks done and everything, and then still have issues with it, and it sucks because it's the shop that has to eat all the labor, and fight with S&S or fight with whatever company it is to make sure they make the parts right, and all the whole time it's like this customer is looking at you like maybe this guy didn't know what the fuck he was doing. You know what I mean? But it's really just the products. It was the products were shit. They just that somebody made that shit on a Friday. You know what I mean? So
that's that's the problem. That's always a fucking problem. I mean, even when you get factory, brand new fucking motors from the factory, and we've taken them and sure as shit check the fucking run out in the crank, and there's like 14 thousandths out in the fucking crank. I'm like, fuck, how many miles you got in this thing? And the guy's like 600. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, has anybody in the factory checked their shit? Oh,
yeah,
and I was like, never mind.
They said the new motors, the runouts on them things are pretty retarded, like a lot more than what they would, what you would, or what the most like cam plates would even allow to go on brand new motors. You know what I mean? So I've heard horror stories.
It's only supposed to be 12,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's the maximum runout on a twin cam is 12,000. I mean, generally, here's another example. A lot of guys buy motor kits and they buy the gear drive, and they won't even check the runout on their crank before they fucking put it together. And the runout on a gear drive set is 3,000. If you're at 3,000, I recommend that you don't fucking put it on, because chances are, with this thing being as tight as it's gonna do, you've already got a weak point in the crank. It's gonna fucking spin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're gonna be back here in fucking six months to 2 years, and your motor's gonna fucking blow up.
Yeah, that's the scary thing that I think a lot of people are starting to realize about some of the Harley products, or just some of the like getting in depth motor stuff. Like that there's things that need to be done. The cranks are like, most people look at cranks like, oh, I only need that if I'm going like turbo or big shit. But realistically, a solid crank is like the way to go for any motor build. You know what I mean? For what?
Oh, absolutely.
So.
Here I'll give you another example that fucking drives me nuts. So do you realize that 90% of all lifters are fucking simply a replacement for a Chevy 350?
Yeah, I've heard something like that before. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can go to these places and buy fucking cheap ass fucking lifter replacements from a parts warehouse, and they're no different than what the fuck you're buying from these other companies. And they're charging 3 times the amount.
Yeah. That's that motorcycle tax, though.
Oh, dude.
You ever see like some crazy billet shit made for like a boat, and you're like, wow, this whole like my buddy in NorCal there used to build jet skis. You like those little ones they do tricks on and shit. and they'd have like these like handlebar stem type things that, you know, the stand up jet skis, and it's all billet aluminum, like CNC made shit, and it'd be like $300 for all this shit. And then mind you, we're paying $450 for a set of floorboards that have no rubber inserts. It's just a whole bunch of CNC milling. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like,
oh, it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's always like that motorcycle tax. It gets thrown on everything. You know, you go into a machine shop and I want to make a run of products. Oh, what is it for? Motorcycle. Oh yeah, fuck. You know, they start thinking about biker build-offs, and everybody wants to get rich and famous off of everything.
You know, what's funny is that, you know, I got into an argument one time with a guy about the factors of the 49 millimeter conversion kit that we make, and it's all factory Harley parts. Mm-hmm. And the way the reason why I designed that is that if a customer was out anywhere and the nearest place they could get to was a Harley dealer, or they wanted to make sure that they wanted to take their bike to a Harley dealer, the technician could work on it because it's all factory Harley shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one guy was just like, "Oh, dude, that only costs like $1,000 to make, this and that." And I go, "Really?" I said, there's 2 hours of fucking lathe time. Mm-hmm. Plus putting the stoppers on the fucking bottom clamp. Then buying all the products and putting it together. It literally costs about $1,800, everything said and done. So I'm making a big $199 off the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Tell me where I'm getting rich.
Yeah. That's the same thing that happens with paint, man. Like, you know, we've had, you know, some of the bagger paint jobs that we've done on some of the, you know, more elaborate stuff, it's $10,000, you know, and it's like, I'm sorry, man. It sucks whenever I have to spend an entire month working on your bike. You know what I mean? And the thing is that people don't really realize is that everybody wants a quality product, right? Well, a quality product in the paint industry is a percentage of the skill and the attention that me as the user will put into the product, or the you know, what I'm working on. But there's also the materials that I use, and there's lots of levels of shitty or quality or better materials that'll last longer. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And those things ain't cheap.
We did a fucking replacement on a God, I forget what it's called, the Daytona Blue from Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
Well, they discontinued some of the parts, so some of the parts weren't available. We had to get the paint. Fuck, for a pint of the shit was fucking $775.
Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy because we used to do a lot of repair work for Harleys dealerships and stuff, and also we don't really take in anymore, like, you know, people would get CVOs and they would want like, hey man, can you paint the speaker lids, can you paint my tour pack or whatever, and it's like we just stopped doing that shit because for us to make a dime off of it, we'd have to charge $1,500 plus to do a tour pack, you know, or a set of lids, and it's like, you know, it's not my fault you bought a bike that has 2 colors on it that cost me $700 a piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you get these guys are pissed.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not my fault. You're the one that bought a $43,000 motorcycle, dude. You should have had him throw it on there.
And then that said, you spend $43,000 on a motorcycle, and half the fucking customers only get to ride it for a couple months, and then it fucking breaks down.
Dude, I had a buddy that bought a brand new CVO 2 weeks before Sturgis or a week before Sturgis, and it blew up on the ride home. 43 grand.
Man.
I mean, they took care of it. You know, the dealership took care of it and replaced it, obviously. But it just sucks, man. That would put a weird taste in your mouth if you. It would make you ride, like, be scared of the bike for a while. Like, you just spent all this money on it, and, you know, obviously you want to break it in and stuff. But after that, you're like, fuck, man, the last one blew up with 70 miles on it. Like, what is this one going to do? You know, like, I don't want to. You're kind of worried, like.
Indians capitalizing on this.
Yeah. Well, it's also good because, you know, I'm also optimistic because with the pressure from Indian, I hope that it pressures Harley to, you know, pay attention to the market that they already have. You know what I mean? Which obviously they haven't, you know, with a lot of the decisions.
I really think. Go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
I just think that if they see what Indian does, and you know, if Indian steals some riders from Harley with the new FTR, and maybe I'm not a fan of the styling of their baggers, but like I said, that FTR is a fucking amazing looking machine. If it rides like it should because of what it has, and you know, and the price point, I think it's going to bring a lot of people to Indian as far as like the Dyna culture and things like that, in a sense. Maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong. But
I've worked on a couple of the Indians already. I'm not a big fan of it. I think components are really fucking cheap. They look like they're made in China. The air induction, like on the what fucking model? The Scout, was just fucking ridiculous. I don't like the 2-point frame to it, where the motor is integrated into the frame. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm an anti-Indian person.
Yeah, I think a lot of us
I would literally quit riding altogether if I couldn't fucking ride a Harley. If Harley fucking wasn't available, I wouldn't ride an Indian.
Yeah, it'd be tough, man. Like I said, I do like the FTR, but I'm not a fan of the styling. I think that it's kind of dated looking, and it kind of has that jet ski-ish kind of feel to it, But I don't know. I'm just a consumer at that point. I've never even painted an Indian before, so I don't know.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, I seen the when Victory had it, and Arlen Ness really went through it, and I mean, he actually fucking built a pretty good bike with the Victory. I mean, I thought that thing was actually progressing into the right direction, but apparently not. Now, here's the other portion that I start seeing that is inevitable, is that Harley Davidson is going to file bankruptcy. It is fucking 100% the inevitable. That's going to happen.
How long do you think they got before they do it?
I thought they were going to file it this year.
For real?
I think with the new models that they've come out with, I've only worked on one of the new Fat Boys. That's and realistically on the road, I've only seen probably 2.
Damn.
I haven't seen any of the new fucking bikes out on the market. I haven't seen anybody buy them. I see them on the showroom floor, and I'm like, dude, it looks like a fucking electric razor with 2 fucking squirrel cages on it.
Yeah, I was real skeptical on the Softails when they first came out, but one of my close friends has it, and he's put it through the ringer, and they outperform a Dyna, those new Softails like the Lowrider and the Fat Bob and stuff like that. But
I'm gonna agree with you on that bike.
Yeah.
On the new Softail of that Street Bob.
Yeah.
That thing's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah. I mean, the Street Bob's the same platform essentially as that Lowrider, I believe, right? So
I believe so.
It's just kind of like the spoke wheels kind of thing, a little bit cheaper model, but realistically, you're getting mid controls. You're getting some stuff to kind of.
I tuned one up. I did a pipes tune and an intake on that thing, and that is the only M8 that I have ever seen fucking rip.
Yeah.
Only one.
That's cool. Yeah. It's a good term. Well, shit, man.
I mean,
what other than I know we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but I mean, any other things major coming up for you this year? Rides, events, that you're going to probably be at that people can meet you at and stuff, or what do you think?
Well, I plan on I will be at Sturgis this year, and we'll have to get back to you as soon as the promoter releases on that, and we can touch more onto that, because I think that's really gonna shake up the industry, where a lot of people are gonna be like, "Fuck, I wasn't gonna go, but I'm gonna go this year."
Yeah, cool.
So that I hope to go to the Born Free event, and other than that, I'm just kind of open to figure out what the hell is going to go on. I really need to see what the industry is going to do, and what's going to be worth my time.
Yeah, I hear you.
Don't get me wrong, I like going down and seeing everybody and hanging out with everybody and party with everybody, but I got to look at this aspect as I own a business, and when I'm not at my shop, I'm not making money.
Yeah. That's the tough part about it, man, when you're trying to build a scene in an industry that, that's the sacrifices that certain shops and individuals like yourself and others that we named earlier are making to kind of build this scene, So it's kind of, it sucks because you can't cry about it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it does suck because you have to deal with all the extra stress and responsibilities that come on top of it.
And we've got one other project that we were looking forward to getting involved with, but it doesn't look like it's going to pan out. Rather, they didn't get money, but it was going to be another type of show called Bike Night in America.
That'd be cool. And what was that premise?
So the premise of that is that they wanted to do a racing qualifier across the nation.
That's cool.
And then at the end of it, they were going to do a final drag race on the top of a 747 or what's it called, an aircraft carrier.
Damn, that'd be crazy. How long are those things?
I think they're a half mile long.
Damn, you got plenty of time to do if it's half mile, you got a quarter mile plus. Yeah, you got breakdown area. So
yeah, I was all about it. I was all about getting into it, but everybody wants to do shit for free. Everybody wants to give you hey, give me ideas to fucking further my career. So basically, I can just take advantage of you and
find someone to do it cheaper.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny, the guy's like, hey, can you send me an email of this and that and all your fucking ideas of how to do the qualifiers and what type of racing? And I go, whoa. I said, dude, I've already done this shit with Discovery. Tell you what, you write out a contract, you give me a fucking amount, and then I'll start giving you all the info to fucking do this. Other than that, I'm not fucking doing this for free. This, fuck. Do I have fucking free nigger for rent on my fucking head?
Yeah.
Fuck, no, I don't.
Yeah.
and that's what I think these guys do. They just think that they can just corporately take advantage of us and, take our ideas and make money off of us.
Yeah, it's.
I'm just not about it. It's fucked.
Yeah, it sucks, man. But I don't know. That's why.
But I don't know. I mean, I'd like to do shit. Like if you guys are doing more events and you're gonna fucking be somewhere, let me know. Fuck, let's go hang out. Let's go party.
Yeah.
Let's go fucking scare the local sheriff.
Yeah, I just got off probation, so I'm trying to stay off that for a while.
What the fuck you do?
I was just like a DWI, but it was close enough to.
Oh.
Yeah. But no, that's cool, man.
I've had one of those.
Yeah.
And then I sat in the drunk tank and I looked at this one little fat fucker that kept fucking eyeballing me, and I knocked on the glass window, and I'm like, "Oh, you're one of those. I bet you that fucking Chevy truck out in the front of the parking lot that says Cowboy Up is yours." And everybody started fucking laughing.
Yeah.
And even the cops even fucking were laughing in there. No, sure, they'd rip me out of the fucking cell and try to fucking beat me up, and long whole story.
It's wild. Well, shit, man. What else? I mean, where can everybody find you? We're going to wrap this thing up. What's your social media? Instagram?
If they want to get a hold of us, they can go to Von Metal V Twin on Instagram. They can look us up online at vonmetalvtwin.com. We're located at the bottom of Geiger Grade in Reno, Nevada. The best thing about our shop is, right 20 feet next door is a bar.
Nice.
So you can come, get your bike worked on, go have a beer, come back, pick it up, and ride up the hill to Virginia City to go ride and have more drinks and have a good time.
Hell yeah. Well, cool, man. Like I said, I'm pretty sure we'll run into you when we come through Reno, and for sure I should be at Sturgis this year, so we'll definitely touch bases there too. So looking forward to it, man.
I really appreciate the opportunity of you having me on the show and everything, and I really appreciate the factors of what you guys are trying to do to this industry and bring it it's down to its knees so we can fucking conquer all.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you appreciating me.
And I look forward to riding with you guys and talking to you guys some more.
Cool, man. All right, well, thank you, and we'll talk to you later. Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. It was a great conversation. I enjoyed talking to him and getting a little bit more knowledge of his background and where he came from, and just some of the things he's been going through for the last couple of years, building his side of this performance motorcycle scene up. So yeah, man, thanks, dude. Thanks for being on, man. I really appreciate it, and I want to thank our sponsors, dndexhaust.com, DND Exhaust on Instagram, and 844 D&D pipe if you want to get a nice exhaust system for your bike. And don't forget to use Fast Life for a percentage off at checkout. Also, TexasPerformanceMC.com. Texas Performance MC. Like I said, you can catch him and us and a lot of my Anvil homies down in Austin this weekend. We, as in the Fast Life Garage, won't have a booth. We'll just be hanging out with Mark. We'll probably be completely drunk the entire weekend. Hopefully, I don't make an ass of myself, but, if I do, then, it'll be fun. Watch me destroy myself, I guess. Anyway, I hope you guys come out to the Austin Easy Rider show. I know that Travis at Texas Biker Living Magazine has really put a lot of effort into trying to promote and push this. So I'm really excited to be there and see a lot of the Austin homies. And hell, I think homies from fucking, Houston, San Antonio, East Texas. It's just going to be it's going to be a good time, man. I hope you guys are making it. I'll be there for sure. I also want to thank Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram and painthuffer.com. If you ever need any custom paint products, go see him. Horsepower Inc. on Instagram, Horsepower Inc. Indy on Facebook, and horsepowerinc.net if you want to get exhaust, throttle bodies, air cleaners, fuel injectors, and just, all around badass horsepower incorporated products. Also, don't forget, man, we're giving these bars away. Go on Patreon, subscribe. You don't have to put $50 in a month, man. Just $1. It adds up. The goal is just a very small contribution really helps control or helps put enough, money into the podcast to keep it rolling. Like literally I was trying to, buy a plane ticket to go to NorCal next week. And, just between working on the bikes and all this, I couldn't come up with the money to get the flight. And it's, that's where some of this money would come into hand. It's like I wanted to go up there and talk to Joe Kidd again and Nick Henzo and a couple other homies. I think I had West Coast T-Bars lined up. But, it's kind of hard, because that has to come out of my pocket. And sometimes, us custom painters aren't as rich as we pretend to be on Instagram, I guess you'd say. But anyway, like I said, the Patreon stuff really helps. Checking out our sponsors really helps. And just sharing this stuff on Instagram really helps. So, you guys keep doing what you're doing, and we appreciate it. We're going to keep trying to bring some great podcasts and new guests and new, ways of talking about motorcycles. So thank you guys for checking this out. And we'll see a lot of you in Austin this weekend.